Alrighty, hello everybody, my son HW here for yet another stream with you lovely folks. Going to be doing the first tournament of Season 3 today. Going to be a No Terror tournament, since I had combined forces with Ironthunder and he was doing a No Terror tournament on the same weekend as I was, so I decided to combine forces with him and host a No Terror tournament, and that way we didn't have two conflicting tournaments. So in any case, let's see how this turns out. I have a feeling today's tournament's going to make our rush low leadership factions like Beastmen, Greenskin, Skaven, Norska shine. But we'll see how they fare. I just feel like without Terror being on the field, those factions are going to be especially threatening, since usually Terror is one of the main tools to deal with them. So let's go through the sign-up list. Make sure each player has their faction picked in there and that they are checked in. I also know there's a player out there, Dutch Skink, who is having troubles checking in, but it looks like he figured it out. So he's checked in, but he has NS as his faction pick. Let me remember, is NS an actual faction code that I'm just not remembering? Faction codes, let's see it. I know he signed up as Dwarf, so I don't know who NS is. Oh, it's Norska, duh. I'm silly. Thank you. Norska is what he signed up with. Alright, cool. Well, glad to see Dutch Geek was able to get signed up. So we have Undertaker with Beastman, he's good to go. Marcel with Empire. Marcel, remember to check in. Dutch Skink with Norska. We have Sacred Band, Williamos with Greenskins. By the way. Alright, cool. Yep, you're Norska, Dutch Skink, and you are checked in. I'm glad it looks like you got everything figured out, so I won't need to check you in. But yeah, you did everything absolutely correctly this time around, so just keep doing that in the tournaments, and you'll be right as rain. But in any case, looking like ODM Loopy is going to bring the Wood Elves, so I'm going to count that as a generic Wood Elf pick. We got Kark with Beastman, Serpent Fang, who hasn't checked in or added a faction, so please make sure you get that in there. Green Zero with the High Elves, Energized with the Lizardmen, Chosen One as the Greenskins. Gundabad is not checked in, has not picked a faction. Philip Slayer, we got Dowie. Ben has not checked in or picked a faction. Mukip has High Elves. Sergeant Ansi has Empire. White Philip has Bretonia. Pugnoban has Skaven. Articulatamus has Dark Elves. We have SS Holder with Empire. Wicked D with Greenskins. Greenskins looking pretty popular today. Dark Elves for Black Philip. Dowie for Sad Philip. Dowie for Alexander. High Philip gets Falcon. High Philip gets VP. No Vampire Coast. Important to remember, VP equals Vampire Pirates. VC equals Vampire Counts. Dodo Bird, Bretonia, Salted Katana, Skaven, Trash Philip, Dimmy, Beastman. There's so many weird names here. Ceremus is Skaven, Sacred Band, Mist with Dark Elves, Damon with Dark Elves, Greenskins for Slag Philip, Rezel with Beastmen, Hyalinala with Lizards, Santham with Greenskins, Hadris with Greenskins, Vic, Skaven, and Ben the Barman with Greenskins. So, looks like we still got another 5 minutes until the official start time of the tournament, and we usually give like a little bit of a grace period, but let's go ahead and see how long, or see how many people get checked in. It looks like we only have 4 players who aren't checked in, so that should be good. Let me do another quick look around. I didn't see anybody who didn't have their faction picked. At least that was checked in, so I think we're good. Yeah, that person isn't checked in. That person isn't checked in. That person isn't checked in. So it looks like, yeah, and that person is checked in. So everybody who hasn't added a faction isn't checked in, so I don't need to worry about them. And everybody who's checked in has added a faction. So look at that, guys. It's starting to go pretty smoothly. So let's go ahead, remove the armor blocker, and remove my face from the screen here, and get ready for the battle at hand. So we got Loopy here with his Wood Elves versus the Empire of Marcel. And, who comes out on top is anybody's guess. Both of these guys solid players, so let's see what happens here. Now, sorry, it took a second to get my match intro card up here, but here it is now. Bada bing, bada boom. Wood Elves versus Empire. Loopy versus Marcel. This is a best of 1, and this is the No Terror tournament. So, here we go. Starting with the Wood Elves, we've got on the field of battle here healthy number of archers, 2 Way Watchers, 3 Deepwood Scouts. We got 2 Wild Riders, both of them with shields, and then we have 5 units of Eternal Guard. Now, aside from that, we will have 2 units up in the air, And these units up in the air are going to be a Glade Lord, as well as a Spellsinger of Life. The Spellsinger of Life on top of her Hawk is going to have a Power Stone, Regrowth, Earthblood, and Awakening of the Wood. Meanwhile, over here on top of the Glade Lord, which is going to be the lady variety, is going to have Prey of Anathrema and nothing else besides her bow. Now, let's go ahead and take a look at the Empire army over here, being brought by Marcel. Now, Marcel, starting with his infantry, is going to have 5 units of Empire Swordsmen, one of them being the Sigmar Sons Regiment Renowned Unbreakable Swordsman. He's going to have 3 units of crossbows. He is going to have a healthy number of spearmen, which appears to be 4. He's going to have 1 piece of artillery, being a great cannon here to counter those wood elves who have no access to artillery themselves. And then in the back line, he is going to have a healthy number of Empire cavalry in the form of 1 Empire Knight, 1 Reichsguard, 1 Empire Knight, and 1 Reichsguard. So 2 of each, 1 of each on either flank. Reichsguard and Empire Knights, very badass, very high armor, very good. They have bronze shields. So, for the cost, 110 armor, very, very worthwhile, especially in this matchup, in my opinion. For the leadership, we are going to have a light wizard on top of a horse. This light wizard is going to have Blast, Biona's Time Warp, and Net of a Mintok. You rarely see Biona's Time Warp, but I like this spell. It's an interesting spell, nearly a minute long, with 24% speed and 26 melee attack buff. So that on top of a hero like perhaps Boris Todbringer could be quite significant, giving him a speed of close to 100, if it's popped right, especially in conjunction with Foeseeker. But he doesn't have Foeseeker, so I take it back. We have Boris Todbringer on top of his steed. He's going to have the mid lane Runefang and nothing else. So this is going to be a very tanky Boris on top of an armored horse with that regeneration passive. This is best of ones and single knockout Magnum Knights. All of my tournaments, the casual, normal tournaments, unless it's a flash tournament or a final or something, are going to be best of 1 up until the semifinals, and the semifinals are best of 3s from there on out. But yeah, this is winner takes all at first. So we got the Deepwood Scouts pushing forward, and it's going to be really interesting to see how the Wood Elves fare here. I like this targeting, going for the Unbreakable unit first, get rid of a lot of its health before it closes the gap, because you're going to want to kill these guys off as quickly as possible. Why? Not because they're a particularly threatening unit by themselves, but because this Unbreakable unit is going to act as an anchor for the rest of these other cheap Empire units, and as soon as the Unbreakable unit is dealt with, it makes these other swordsmen a lot more susceptible to routing. So these guys are already down below half health. We will see if the Deepwood Scouts can finish them off. Now, this should be an interesting battle. Way Watchers over here on the far right flank look like they're getting chased by some spearmen. Spellsinger of Life going in there to support. And these Way Watchers very, very threatening, and all of the Empire Knights and Reichsguard coming forward to try to kill them. And these guys, a huge volley going down to about half health. And just look at the carnage. All those dead knights. Deepwood Scouts continuing to shoot down the Empire Swordsmen, and I like it. They're taking them down about half health and then switching targets. Meanwhile, these Empire Knights, oh my god, 1 volley, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. At least 10 models killed off of that 1 volley. And if they get a volley off right here, it would be absolute mayhem. But fortunately for these confused Empire Knights, the Way Watchers are pulling back. Don't want to get too greedy, and we'll see how they fare. The cannon is paying dividends to the Empire right now, especially against these Deepwood Scouts. I mean, these guys have taken quite a few casualties. About 24 casualties in terms of models and nearly half health damage. And right now, I mean, it looks like the Empire, unfortunately for the Empire, is just kind of getting caught without any answer to what's happening to them right now. I mean, it's one of those things where, I feel like the Empire player needs to get his line straight up. Right now you can see his army starting to break apart. These swordsmen are far, far out of position, and all that needs to happen is for the Glade Lady to dive in with some Internal Guard, and they'll be able to mop these guys up real quick. Whereas the rest of the Empire army is way over here, and with this kind of Wood Elf army that you're facing, you really need to make sure your army is approaching all at once, not in a piecemeal fashion. That way, the Wood Elves don't have an easy time selecting their targets and killing units off piecemeal 1 by 1. And right now, I have a feeling that's exactly what's going to happen to these Reichsguard if the Wood Elves aren't careful. We have 2 Way Watchers. and the Wild Riders, and now the Glade Ladies over here. So we know of a Prey of Anathema is very much going to be coming into play in the near future. Over here, it looks like the Empire Knights are just having a hard time getting onto the juicy archers in the back, and they're going to be taking a lot of fire in return. Meanwhile, Prey of Anathema going down over here, well, couldn't have been timed any better. Those Reiksguards stop dead in their tracks before they can close the gap on top of the Wild Riders, and now they are routing, and that's going to be a huge loss, because now the Empire left flank that was pushing in on the Wood Elf right flank is absolutely neutralized. All of their cav is gone, or about to be gone. These spearmen are about to be gone. They do well in combat against Wild Riders, but without a brace and getting a charge, they are going to be worse for wear. And then it looks like the Empire Swordsmen too. I mean, we see the Unbreakable Sigmar Sons and these guys are gone. This Empire Swordsman is very low on health. These two in the center are holding okay for now, and the crossbowmen are actually coming in and starting to make some really good damage on top of that Wood Elf front line. But with two-way Wild Riders on the field, very, very healthy, 2 Way Watchers and 3 Deepwood Scouts, I feel like this is an uphill battle for the Empire, no doubt about it.
Enemy magic.
There goes a break in the Wood Elf line from the Empire. Going to be bringing the swordsmen back, it would seem, trying to chase down these archers. I like this choice. Try to box them in. He's got some spearmen chasing him from this angle. Empire Knights and Reiksguard over here killing off the Wild Riders, but they are getting sniped down by all of these archers while they do it. Ooh, there went that blast. Did a nice little bit of damage. But yeah, the Empire right now is in a very precarious position. It's just gotten the rest of its cavalry neutralized. Has some spearmen coming over here to try to shut down these archers, but Wild Riders are diving in right on top of them. We got Reiksguard coming in to support. But I think one more volley from these Way Watchers and these Reiksguard are going to be dead to rights. But look at that. A lot of the targeting not going down very well, and the Reiksguard are coming through, looking like they're about to get a charge down on top of these Way Watchers. But is it too little too late? Ooh, Awakening the Wood going down here, leaving quite a lot of damage on top of these Empire infantry. Balance of power definitely in favor of the Wood Elves right now, but the Empire, as we can see, is starting to get their hand in the cookie jar, so to speak. But as they stick their hand in the cookie jar, they find out there's a rattlesnake there, and poor Boris is going to get bit by that rattlesnake. And you guys saw it, one volley took him down about a third of health, and I worry for the Empire chances once these archers are able to single out Boris again with another volley. Over here in the back lines, we're going to see some Eternal Guard taking care of these Empire Swordsmen, desperately trying to get on top of the crossbows and kill them off. And then over here, it looks like the Empire leadership is starting to get taken out again. I mean, you got to give credit to Boris here. He's being a badass. He's definitely a badass. He's like, yo, wizard, net these guys in place surrounding me so I can kill them off. They keep trying to run away from me. And I am Boris. Oh, man. It's interesting because they're trying to snipe Boris down while he's in amongst a bunch of Wood Elf units, and I feel like that's actually kind of backfiring a bit. Meanwhile, over here, the Empire is actually doing an okay job, starting to clean up a lot of the Wood Elf forces that are straggling behind. Got some Wild Riders here with their shields chasing off routing Empire units. The Light Wizard is finally starting to rout, and the Wild Riders are going to start chasing him off the field. And there goes a Prey of Anathema on top of Boris Todbringer. And with that Prey of Anathema, I think that's going to be a GG, because just like we saw Boris get sniped when it was low zero versus Shetland Apache, yeah, we're about to see Boris get sniped here. And without Boris on the field, without that Light Wizard on the field who's about to get chased off the map, the balance of power should shift quite heavily to the Wood Elves, and I think we're going to see a chain rout at any moment here. So let's go ahead and get in some cinematics of these Wood Elves duking it out against these Empire forces. Oh, I see it. Hawk over here fighting. A very good game, but Loopy gonna come out on top there with his Wood Elves. Marcel, better luck next time, and well played to you, sir. Let's take a look at the armies here and see if there's anything we can gather. So here we are. I mean, 115, 170 kit 6. I got to give MVP to the Wild Riders here. Even though they didn't get most of the damage done, that was definitely the archers killing off the important units, but the Wild Riders were what allowed these archers to have their free pick of the day. Entire battle, these archers just got to choose who they wanted to get, who they wanted to shoot down and kill, and it was in large part because of the Wild Riders' defensive capabilities. Diving in, taking out any infantry that was coming in to compromise the missiles, diving in to try to slow down the cavalry before it can get on the missile so a prey of anathema can go down. I think the Wild Riders used very nicely there. And then also the prioritization of these archers was very well done in terms of which units they were targeting when. So great game to both players, and yeah, first victory, first game of the day was quite a fun one, so thank you to both of them for that game. Well played. Let's go find another one. What are Greenskin's options versus Doom Wheels? Greenskin chariots of their own, Orc Borboy chariots, I think, can fare quite well, and their mass is enough to slow down Doom Flayers and Doom Wheels. And then other than that, you also have Azag on his Wyvern, which you can use to try to chase down Doom Wheels. You can use Goblin Big Bosses with Forest Goblin Spider Riders to chase down Doom Wheels. You can use Trolls to block Doom Wheels or Doom Flayers with your mass. So I think Greenskins have a few options to deal with with the chariots from the Skaven. It's definitely not easily done, but it's definitely possible. Now, let's go ahead and change the score before I forget, because it's going to be 0-0 here as the Greenskins go up against the Skaven. Let's start with Willamos' army and see if he's brought some of those tools I just mentioned to try to deal with those inevitable chariots that the Skaven may bring. Now, over here for the infantry, we're going to have 1, 2, 3, 4. Wow, 4 Orc Boys, as well as the 8-Peak Loonies, Regiment Renowned Night Goblin Warriors. He's going to have 3 Black Orcs. He's going to have 2 units of Trolls. As I was talking about earlier, these guys are really great at slowing down incoming chariot charges and stuff like that with their mass. They can stop them dead in their tracks. Aside from that, we are going to have 2 units of Forest Goblin Spider Rider Archers. We're going to have 2 units of Forest Goblin Spider Riders with a unit of Goblin Wolf Riders and 1 unit of Squig Hoppers. So we got quite a lot of mobility here for the Greenskins. And once again, even this combination can kill off Doom Wheels. You got the poison from the Forest Goblin Spider Riders. That slows them down, and then these guys have armor piercing, so I think the Greenskins have a few tools to try to counteract those Doom Wheels that the Skaven may bring. But enough about that. Let's look at the Greenskin leadership. We have a Night Goblin Shaman here who's going to have Night Shroud as well as Itchy Nuisance and Sneaky Stealin'. And then we got Skarsnik here with his big old Cave Squig Gobla. And Gobla and him are going to have Trixie Traps, Spite of the Bad Moon, and Wah along with nothing else. Now, let's go take a look at the Skaven army here. It's going to have a front line consisting of 5 Clan Rats with shields. We're going to have some Clan Rat spears as well. Looks like 4 of them. Make that 5 Clan... Oh, yeah, so my bad. 4 Clan Rat spears. We're going to have the Council Guard, Regiment Renowned Unbreakable Storm Vermin with halberds. We are also going to have a unit of Skaven Slaves. 2 units of Skaven Slave spears. He's going to have 2 Rat Ogres in his backline for that mass and protection. He's going to have Ikit here, that Regiment Renowned War Planning Cannon. Very accurate, and it also has this lovely ability, which basically acts like Setep's staff, where plus 10 ability recharge rate. So you can basically negate Wah for as long as you possibly want if you use that right. Now, for the Skaven leadership, we are going to have a Plague Priest up here on a Plague Furnace. And that guy is going to have Vermintide, Pestilent Breath, as well as Scrying Stone and Billowing Death. And then we're also going to have Ikit Claw over here on top of a Doom Flayer with the Brass Orb, Unlimited Power, as well as Storm Daemon, Warp Lining, Death Frenzy, And the best defense with Musketeer is that passive. So, here we go, taking a look at the two armies as they approach. We have all of the greenskins here with Death Shroud on, Night Shroud on top of them. So this entire force of greenskins is hidden and approaching without any risk of getting shot by Ikit Zap. And I love it. Look at this, guys. They still have an additional... Well, they have quite a few seconds left to go, so I think this was a brilliant move. The Warp Lightning Cannon could not touch any of these greenskin forces for the vast majority of the battle, and now they are about to appear in the battle line, and bada bing, bada boom, there go the trolls diving in to help support. I would have loved to see these trolls get turned on to Ikit Claw. There they go, because if they can catch Ikit Claw, then they will have a heyday with the rest of the Skaven army. However, it looks like Ikit will be able to escape there without too much problem. As long as he keeps running forward. There he goes, running forward. Yeah, if these trolls get on top of him and Skarsnik is nearby with his bonus versus large armor piercing, it will be a bad day for the Skaven. But here goes Wah on top of the greenskin forces, and now the meat of the greenskin line has met the Skaven line, and we'll see how long these clan rats with shields will hold out against the Black Orcs and the trolls. I can't imagine they'll be able to hold out forever, and as you can see right now, they look like they are getting chopped to bits by the big choppers of the Black Orcs. Now, checking out the backline engagements, it does look like the greenskins are doing their best to get around into the cookie jar, so to speak, and there they go, bringing a lot of these units down on top of the Ikit Zap. I have to say, I would like to see these units get spread out a little bit, sent to different areas of the battlefield. But the greenskins right now, it look like they're about to come breaking through the front line, and as soon as that happens, then Ikit Zap will be compromised for good. And it looks like we're seeing some of these breaks happening right now. Ikit Claw doing its best to dive through the front line and dish out a lot of damage, but these trolls are on top of him now, and now he has Black Orcs on the other side, and if these trolls pin him in place, it could be a very, very bad day for Ikit indeed. Over here, it looks like a Brass Orb is going to go down on top of the Black Orcs, pinning them in place, doing a nice little bit of damage as well. But looking at the Skaven lines, I mean, I don't know. I'm trying to get a good read on what's going on here, and it looks like a lot of Skaven are routing, a lot of greenskins are routing. When you see the greenskins important units like the Black Orcs, they're all still very, very healthy for the most part. Whereas Ikit Claw, it seems to be pinned down by trolls and getting a lot of damage. The Plague Priest is already at half health, and yeah, I mean, to me, it looks like the greenskins are in a pretty solid position right now in this battle as they head into the mid-battle, the mid-game. There goes a Warp Lightning trying desperately to protect Ikit, and it actually will help him escape. There he goes, pulling through those greenskins. And, yeah, we'll see what happens. Balance of power is still dead even, and the greenskins are going to be very susceptible to terror routes if these Black Orcs get taken out. However, as I say that, looks like the Skaven Slave Spears and some of these other units of Skaven are starting to rout, and we see a rear charge coming in from the Night Goblin Squig Hoppers. It looks like some Rat Ogres got sent out just in the nick of time to counteract that charge, but yeah, there go some routes on top of the Skaven, and this has been a messy battle, if I do say so myself. It's been very much just madness start to finish. Hard to keep track of what's exactly going on to me. Or maybe I'm just tired. But uh-oh, here comes Ikit Claw into the center of this greenskin engagement. We're going to see an Itchy Nuisance going down, debuffing all of the Skaven forces rather significantly. And I'm curious to see who comes out on top from here. Right now we have Ikit Claw and the Plague Priest both in the center combat. We have the Night Goblin Shaman getting hit by Ikit Claw. Got to be careful. They do not want to use access to that magic at this point in the game. However, the rest of the Skaven forces besides Ikit Zap are starting to rout over here. And so now the Skaven leadership looks like it's in a dangerous position of potentially getting singled out. But as I say that, the Council Guard are over here, duking it out with some Black Orcs. We're going to see a Wah getting popped for the Greenskins once again. Another reason Skarsnik could be a good choice like Grimgor is he's good at staying in combat and recharging that Wah as often as possible. Other Black Orcs coming in here, looking like they're going to get a bit of a surround on top of these Skaven forces. The Stormvermin Council Guard here are unbreakable, so rear charges will not matter. But here we go. Looks like we got more trolls being sent in, trying to pin Ikit in place. And now look at it. Ikit is surrounded by trolls. He is not going to have an easy time getting out of there. But looks like Skarsnik is over here focusing on this Plague Priest, and doing a lot of work. Look, this Plague Priest is getting very, very low on health. Skarsnik here with his poison damage bonus versus large and decent weapon strength is, you know, really dishing it out. Oh! Boom! Big warp lightning going down on some of these black orcs here. Looks like a pestilent breath is also going to be going down once again. And yeah, look at that. Terror going down, or not even terror, routes going down because, hey, hold on. I'm an idiot. There's terror on the field right here. This Plague Priest. I'm a stupid idiot. Right? Doesn't the Plague Priest cause terror? Or does he not cause terror? I guess the Plague Priest doesn't cause terror. That is so weird. I did not realize that. Nope, no terror at all. My bad. I guess I totally missed that in the last patch. I'm such a bad tournament caster. But here we go. Ikit! Is he going to be able to survive here? The Storm Guard Council Vermin are coming out to help him, but he keeps on getting chased down by trolls. Oh, it looks like the Plague Priest now is going to be the target of the trolls. And is the Plague Priest going to get knocked out right now or not, guys? There goes another summon of clan rats. We got Orc Boys diving into combat here. Oh my goodness, that Plague Priest is down to 119 health points. Should be, there we go. Down goes the Plague Priest. Balance of Power is still dead even though, because I mean, looking across the field of battle right now, the Skaven are the ones with more infantry on the field now. There he goes, Ikit Claw duking it out with Skarsnik, and Skarsnik and Gobla are going to have a good time in this combat, right? Because he's on top of a Doom Player. Doom Player is a large unit with armor, and yeah, he's down to 452 health points. He needs to be very, very careful at this point in the battle, because if he loses Ikit, then this battle could very easily be lost for the Skaven. But this is such a close fight right now. Such a close fight. 136 health points on Ikit Claw. So now the Skaven have lost their leadership. Black Orcs are coming back into fight, but looking around the battle, I mean, look, the Skaven have way more units left on the field than the Greenskins do at this point. And as long as Ikit stays alive, I think they very much have a possibility to come back and win this, especially if they can get a surround on top of Skarsnik right here. He doesn't like to be surrounded. Gobla will be able to eat his fill of rats thingies. But yeah, at this point, the battle could very easily switch over to the Skaven while getting popped for the Greenskins, just barely holding it together. And look, Skarsnik, ooh, his leadership almost disappeared there. There goes a sneaky, or itchy nuisance on top of the Skaven. And oh, there it goes, the chain route for the Skaven. What a close battle. I thought the Greenskins were about to chain route right there. The Council Guard, the only thing that were holding those Skaven forces together, and now the Council Guard being the only unit for the Skaven left on the field, as good old Gobla and Skarsnik just eat their way to victory. That was a great game. I apologize because I feel like I wasn't doing the best job of casting it play by play because I was kind of getting lost with what was going on. However, that was very, very well played. Did I get my family into Warhammer yet? I'm working on it. Don't know Rolamara. Don't effing know. I can't. I'm just going to call you Mara. But yes, not yet. I'll let you know. I'll keep you posted. I was also surprised there too. Yeah, Nothadris, I totally thought there was a rule violation there. But yeah, Plague Priest does not cause terror. I did not know that. Oops. And look at that timing, guys. Loading into the battle now. Let's remove my ugly mug from the screen, as well as the army blocker. Keep the scoreboard up there. And let's throw up that match intro card right about now. So here we go. We got Sacred Band Mist with the Dark Elves going against Gobbo Slayer's Dwarfs. So here we go. The No Terror Tournament, round 1 in this best of 1 between these two wonderful players. The map is Doomgate, though, so this should make it interesting. Curious to see how the Dowie fare here. Not the best map for artillery, but we'll see what they do. I'm not sure, Slade X. Let me shoot a message to Kark and see if he's online. Because if he isn't, then it's probably not a good sign. I did see that they had a lobby up. I just shot him a message. And I haven't gotten any private messages since the tournament began, so usually they reach out to me. Hey, Dutch Skink, I'm really glad you had a good first battle, bud. Sorry you weren't able to make it through. I hear Vic is a good player, so just keep it up. You know, can't show up to the next tournament and we'll get you there. All right, yeah, Kark says it's all good in his tournament. So yeah, Kark says everything's going well in his tournament match, so I guess they're just having a long best of one. What you gonna do? Okay, guys, here we go. We'll check in on that Kark match after this, but for now, let's just see what these two players have brought us. Now, starting with our blue player who has the Dark Elves, we are going to see Sacred Band Mist bringing a force of Dark Elves that has a lot of firepower. So, looking at this army, we're going to see 4 Black Arc Corsairs with handbows, followed up by 4 units of Dark Shards, just the regular old Dark Shards. Now, for the other ranged units in this army, he is going to have what appears to be 4 units of Shades, just the regular variety. I honestly kind of like to see the Great Weapons here, since the Great Weapons can do well in combat against those Dowie forces too. But in any case, looking out for the rest of the Dark Elf army, we're going to have a single Cold One Chariot here. We are also going to have 2 units of Dark Riders, both of them with shields, I believe. Yeah, so those silver shields should be quite... Oh, bronze shields should be fairly useful for them. Now, for the leadership of this army, you're going to have Supreme Sorceress of Beast here on top of her steed. And she is going to have with her Arcane Conduit, Opal Amulet, the Amber Spear, and Wild at Heart. So, sorry, just Wild Heart. So, nothing but the Amber Spear, Power Stone, and Arcane Conduit. So, it looks like she's just going to be trying to kill as many people as possible with that spell. And that will be it for the Dark Elf forces. Now, for the Dowie forces here have brought with them, starting with the infantry, which there is little. 2 miners with blasting charges, one of them being Ekron Miners, the Regiment Renowned Miners with blasting charges. He's going to have 4 units of Rangers. He's going to have what appears to be a unit of Quarrelers, as well as 4 units of Iron Drakes. These Iron Drakes shooting out their flame-throwing... their flamethrowers should be quite the sight to behold, and they're also one of my favorite looking models in the game with their really sick armor. He's going to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 units of Thunderers. Both of these players are going for very, very heavy ranged armies, and I'm curious to see who comes out on top. Aside from the Dowie ranged power, we're going to have an artillery piece here in the form of a cannon, a runesmith here. This runesmith will have the rune of Wrath and Ruin, and then we're going to have the Rune Lord here with the Master Rune of Wrath and Ruin. So nothing but those 2 items on top of those people. And that should round out both forces. So let's wish the players good luck, have fun, and see who comes out on top. So troop count relatively even, only about a 70 troop difference, 67 to be precise. And it will be Dowie favored, Dark Elf favored in terms of numbers. So interesting armies from both players, and I'm curious to see which firepower comes out on top, the Dowie or the Dark Elves. And the Dark Elves opting to hide all of their units initially, including the Cold One Chariots can hide? Are you kidding me, CA? How does Velociraptors pulling around Razor Scooters full with a bunch of emo Dark Elves hide in the forest, but a Minotaur cannot? Still disappointed by this. It's just a matter of principle, you know. I will harp on that till the day I die. A Minotaur can't hide in the woods, but a Velociraptor chariot can? This is blasphemy. Preposterous. Kark won? Alright, sweet. Just glad it wasn't a game where both players no-showed or something. It's just, yeah, I was surprised it took that long, but as long as they played it, cool, cool. They are clever girls. Oh, good point, Nothadris, I forgot. Clever girls. So, looking at the deployment here, I mean, the Dowie going for a very big, wide deployment. And I like the Dowie deployment because it means whichever side they get attacked on, there's going to be range units behind them that can turn and start firing. I do worry that they'll get overwhelmed on this side before these guys can get pulled into position to support, though. But you know what? Only time will tell. The other thing I worry about is this Lord being out here by himself, but you know. Guess he's just going to watch the woods intently.
What is out there? What do my dowie I see? I hear something in the woods approaching. What could it be?
It's the Dark Elves, ladies and gentlemen. And here they come, sneakily running through the woods. And we'll go out for some larger battlefield shots in just a moment. Just wanted to get some cinematics of those sneaky elves. But yeah, looking across the battlefield now, it looks like the Dark Elves going to continue pushing up very hard on this left flank, hiding all of their shades and their Dark Riders, while the rest of the army remains fairly static. At this point, though, the Dowie, not really knowing where his enemy is, I think he may have caught a glimpse of a unit moving here in the forest, which is why he turned some of his units to face this way. But, yeah, I'm not sure. It looks like, yeah, he must have some idea because he's pulling units down and pushing other units back. So, we'll see what the Dowie player can do here. It's really going to be all about the defensive geometry he sets up, all about how well he can pin units in place to shoot them full of ammunition. Because yeah, these shades are going to be absolutely devastating if they get on top of units and snipe them down. So I'm very curious to see how the counter-strike machine is going to happen on the Dowie front. They do have a good terrain advantage. I love these staggered formations. It gives each unit of missiles plenty of time to fire. And here we go. The shades are discovered and are going to start coming out. But look at this. This Dowie Rune Lord is really out of position, and he could easily get sniped by all the shades right now if he's not careful. Excuse me. Yep, shades going to be coming up, but the Dowie artillery and all of their missiles are going to immediately begin returning fire. And look at this, some miners with blasting charges coming into the mix, and to start throwing some explosive rounds into these shades, disrupting their formation and causing a nice little bit of damage. And the thing is the Dark Elves are going to be losing a lot of their rounds as they hit trees. So a lot of rounds going to be missed because these guys are firing out of the trees. The Dowie doing a good job, though, of sending their units forward piecemeal. There we go. Some miners diving into some Black Orc Corsairs with Hambos. See who comes out on top here. Oh, the Amber Spear. Look at that, guys. Oh! 29 kills on the Supreme Sorceress of Beast. That Amber Spear. Look at the trail of blood it left. It just completely demolished a whole line of those Dowie forces. I loved that. That Amber Spear was absolutely devastating. Looks like Iron Drakes over here getting pinned down. They have 70% fire resistance, so they're going to pin down these Black Orc Corsairs and allow the Iron Drakes behind them to get a lot of damage done. But yeah, right now the Dark Elf strategy of sneaking up in the forest, I have to say, is kind of, it's looking messy. It's not looking like it's being executed very cleanly, and the Dowie look like they're dishing out a ton of damage on the approach for these Dark Elf forces. These Iron Drakes are getting a bit bunched up for my liking, and as you can see, they're losing a lot of their damage potential because of this lip of the hill that they're on. Going to see a Rune of Wrath and Ruin going down on top of these Dark Shards, doing quite a lot of damage, and Dark Shards diving in for combat for some reason. Just going to get absolutely burninated by these Iron Drakes. Yeah, I'm not sure what's happening right here. It seems like the Dark Elves are sending their army up a bit piecemeal, and these Dowie are having their ways with it. However, as I say that, I mean, seeing a lot of Dowie casualties too. These Thunderers getting taken out, a very valuable unit. These Quarrelers looking very, very weak. And then we also saw another unit of Quarrelers get taken out, as well as these Miners. And look at this, the Rune Lord is down here by himself, just getting wrecked right now. Why is he down here by himself? He can't be that close to all of the Dark Elf forces because these Dark Chargers are just sniping him out of existence now. So feel like the Rune Lord is about to be lost for the Dowie, unless they're very, very careful here. Looks like the Master Rune of Wrath and Rune is going down on top of these Dark Shards, and now the Rune Lord is going to start running away. But looking across the field of battle right now, I mean, yeah, I don't know. Supreme Sorceress is a beast. Oh, she's taking so much damage. I don't know where she's running off to, but one more cannonball and she should be dead to rights. We'll see if the cannon is going to shift its targeting onto her, if these Thunderers are going to do the same. And this is going to be a very important moment right now. And it looks like the Dark Elves are going to lose their Lord right there. So Dark Elf leadership is off the field of battle. And now look at the balance of power so far in favor of Red. We see that the Cold One Chariot right here is getting tied down on top of these Thunderers. But unfortunately, with the guard mode on, they're going to continue firing even when they're in combat. And now all the Cold One Chariots are going to be dealt with too. And look at this, guys. I think we're seeing the chain route kick in for the Dark Elves. And the Dowie have won that in a very convincing victory as far as I'm concerned. I mean, great game to both players, but I think missed, maybe it was the map that caught him off guard or whatever it may have been. But yeah, it seems to me that Gobbo Slayer was just way better prepared for that map. His army formation was very clearly well suited for that map. And Sacred Band wasn't able to get a full surround like he wanted. I think he needed to be a bit more patient, push these shades further around the flank. But since he approached everything in a very straightforward fashion, I think he just got outgunned by the Dowie forces. So very well played the Gobbo Slayer, winning a matchup that's pretty difficult. But yeah, this army I feel like just got taken apart, and it just didn't have a very good approach for the Dowie army, because as soon as they got into firing range, the Dowie were just setting the pace of that battle start to finish. So yeah, that was a tough one. All right, let's go to remove that army blocker as well as my ugly mug. Get to the battle at hand here and see who comes out on top between the Vampire Coast, led by good old Falcon, or Gobbo Slayer's Dowie. Now, Dowie do have a favorable matchup in here according to most people now, so we'll see if Gobbo Slayer can defeat Falcon with his dwarf forces. But I have a feeling we're about to see another artillery duel, guys. Should be interesting. But I mean, which faction is better at the artillery duel, guys? You tell me. The undead pirates with their gunnery wights who can give them a ton of ammunition. You got Queen Bess, some carronades and mortars, deck droppers, different things like that that can really bring the firepower to their field. Or do you think the Dowie should come out on top? You know, they are the stunties of old, after all. You know, these guys have been working on their gunpowder recipes for millennia. And, you know, who knows how to shoot off a Thunderer rifle better than a Dowie after all? But in any case, let's see if this is indeed going to be a gunpowder matchup, or if we're going to see some smash and grab tactics. But starting with the Dowie army, we're going to have the Norgrimleen's Ironbreakers, a very hefty unit here. These guys have a lot of fighting power. Their leadership is quite insane at 95, virtually unbreakable, 125 armor, immune to psychology, with a ton of magic resist at 25. So very strong unit. Ekron's Miners, we have the Warriors of Dragonfire Pass, and then we're going to have 2 units of Iron Breakers, just the regular variety. So a very elite Dowie army here. So 3 Iron Breakers in it. And these guys will have a lot of staying power, and they won't rout until the last man, more than likely. We're going to have the Dragonback Slayers here, Regiment Renowned Slayers. And then for the rest of the Dowie army, we're going to have 2 units of Cannons, 2 units of Bugman's Rangers. And what else do we have? We have Ungrim Iron Fist, as well as 2 Thanes. So these Thanes are going to have with them the Ironbeard's Ring. So it's going to make all the enemies around them weak to fire damage. And yeah, both of them will have that. And then we're going to have Ungrim Iron Fist down here in the center, Unbreakable. This guy is going to make quick work of any Vampire Coast large units. He's got Deadly Onslaught and Foe Seeker. And of course, he's unbreakable because he is the Slayer King after all. Now, going over here to check out the Vampire Coast army being brought by Falcon, we are going to see 5 units of zombie pirate deckhand mobs. One of them being the Tide of Skuld Regiment Renowned zombie pirate deckhand mob. He's going to have 2 units of Depth Guard. he's going to have a single unit of zombie pirate deckhand mob with polearms. He is then going to have 4 units of carronades as well as a unit of Mournguls. Just appears to be 1 unit of Mournguls here. We're going to see a vampire fleet captain of vampires with Invocation of the Heck, the Hell's Dance Macabre, as well as the Drowned Dead with a Power Stone. And then on the right flank, we're going to see the rest of the leadership squad being a Gunnery Wight here. This Gunnery Wight is just going to have more powder and extra powder for his passive. And then we're going to have Luther Harkin here. And Luther Harkin's going to be on foot, something you don't often see. But he will have his wonderful pistol and nothing else. So he doesn't even have his ability to passively heal right here. But before I forget, 2 other units going to be Scurvy Dogs in the back line behind the Dowie formation, hidden here in the trees, and we will see how this battle breaks down. So here we go, guys. I mean, it's really going to be a question of, do 4 carronades beat 2 Dowie great cannons? And I think they may. I think the 2-to-1 artillery pieces is going to be really painful for the Dowie to overcome. And I mean, carronades have the same range, 450. The Dowie cannons, 440. They actually outrange the Dowie artillery. Interesting. I didn't realize that. It's only 10, so it's rather negligible, but nonetheless, still outranges them. And one thing I worry about this Dowie army too is its army is so elite that these carronades are going to be able to get so much value on top of these Dowie infantry forces. And oh my goodness, one of the artillery pieces has already been destroyed for the Dowie, and that is really bad luck. And I think we're about to see another one get destroyed too, perhaps. Like, these Dowie forces are going to be completely outmatched when it comes to the artillery duel now. And I think the Dowie player is recognizing that and deciding he also needs to push forward, because it's not going to be easy to even up the odds here. Yeah, only 1 cannon left on this piece now, and as soon as the other cannon disappears, it's going to be a GG to the cannon duel. And now the Dowie do have to push forward, and I always worry about the Dowie's chances as soon as they're the ones forced to go out and get in an engagement. Now speed for Luther Harkin is 40, only 32 for Ungrim Hired Fist, so yeah, won't be able to catch him, unfortunately. Yep, 1 unit of Dowie artillery has been completely destroyed. Only 1 more unit to go, and look at the blob here. Got to be careful, Dowie. Oh no. The artillery are just going to shoot into these guys and have a field day. I mean, at this point, forget about your artillery. Your artillery is useless. It's a liability. Ditch it and just push forward. Yeah, very long map. Not super wide, but I like this map. I've never used it before in a tournament. I think I'm going to use it moving forward. Seems pretty balanced in my opinion. But yeah, the Dowie at this point, I mean, this is looking rough. They definitely still have a chance to win this, you know, especially by virtue of the fact that the Ironbreakers are going to have such a good time in this combat, but I just worry that they're not going to be able to really close the gap in an effective way before they get shot to death by all these Vampire Coast carronades. Looking over here, we're going to see the Warriors of Dragonfire Pass along with one of the Thanes getting in combat here with the Mournguls. And the Vampire Fleet Captain, there goes a summon of the Zombie Pirate Deckhand mob. And yeah, the Warriors of Dragonfire Pass are just going to lose this combat. The Mournguls should be able to heal it back up. And now we're going to see a Thane and the Warriors of Dragonfire Pass get overwhelmed and destroyed by themselves without any real trade going down for the Dowie forces. So I feel like the Vampire Coast right there is easily going to come out on top. Iron Breakers over here throwing down some blasting charges on top of the zombie pirate deckhand mob, but just not going to be a ton of value on top of units that only cost 300 to bring. I would really like to see these guys on fire, not on fire at will. Reserve the ammunition until you see some huge blob opportunities, and then kill off the forces. There we go. That was a nice little blob that got punished by it, but yeah, at this point, I have to say, not to be too doom and gloom. It's just seeming like the Dawi aren't going to be able to have this fight go according to the plan that they wanted it to go according to. And if the Dawi are getting pulled apart and forced to come out and get in engagements that they weren't planning on getting, then I feel like the writing may very well be on the wall. Right now, we're going to see Ungrim Iron Fist going up against the Gunnery White. I imagine he'll be able to make quick work of a Gunnery White without too much problem. But the Gunnery White does... Oh, actually, looks like he'll be a little bit slower than Ungrim Iron Fist. So we'll see if Ungrim Iron Fist can catch him down and kill him. But meanwhile, over here on the far right for the Dawi, we're going to see that the Norgren Lumines Iron Breakers have come into combat now. But the Thane is very, very unhealthy. The Warriors of Dragonfire Pass are regrouping over here. But now it's the Iron Breakers. The Regiment are now in Iron Breakers in combat here. And look how weak they are. If the Norgren Lumines Iron Breakers are this weak, then what do the Dawi have on the field to really deal with this army? I mean, you still have 2 other units of Iron Breakers, but the big problem right now is you have 4 Carronades, which are going to just shoot them out of existence the same way that they've shot the cannons out of existence, the same way that they've shot the archers out of existence. And you can bring Ungrim Iron Fist up here as much as you want, but I don't think he's going to be able to catch this Gunnery White. Although the Gunnery White is crumbling? That can't be right. No, he is crumbling. Look at him. Yeah, he's crumbling right now. Desperately trying to get away from Ungrim Iron Fist. And so, oh, Dragonfire War... sorry, the Dragonback Slayer's coming in on top of that Gunnery White too. If you can kill the Gunnery White, then I still don't think he's going to be able to win it. I don't know. Maybe I'm being too doom and gloom right now. But the artillery pieces still have quite a lot of ammunition. The Iron Breakers are all very weak. And there's still 2 Depth Guard on the field, as well as Luther Harkin. And also, Gunnery White just got healed up by an Invocation of Nehek, along with everybody else in this blob, which really makes me doubt the chances the Dawi have to bring this back, because now they can just keep on adding more and more ammunition to these Carronades. The Carronades can continue to shoot down all of the Dawi infantry like it is right now. And, yeah, this is just going to be looking like a pretty convincing victory for the Vampire Coast, in my opinion. And really, it came down to a miscalculation from the Dawi early in the battle, I think, in terms of, like, they brought 2 cannons, and I do not believe he was expecting 4 cannons from the Vampire Coast. But unfortunately, as you see so often in battles, when it comes to artillery duels, those battles are often determined in the drawing board. It's very rare to where you see an artillery duel won by the faction that has the artillery disadvantage. I've seen it happen before with some cheeky terrain movements and stuff like that, but by and large, whoever has the most artillery is going to win. And in this battle, it was 2-to-1 artillery favored of the Vampire Coast, which basically meant the Dawi cannons were shut down immediately, 1,600 points lost. And then the Dawi had to come out to fight, and on the approach, they were just getting pulled left and right, getting shot by those cannons, and it just, yeah, was a really uphill battle from the Dawi from the beginning as soon as they lost that artillery engagement. So a good game to both players, but looks like the gunpowder fight is going to go over to the Vampire Coast here, because the Dawi, unlike the last battle we saw with them, really didn't commit too hard to the gunpowder and artillery, and they didn't come close to investing as much in it if they wanted to win the artillery duel against the Vampire Coast. Nonetheless, great game to both players. We got the Slayer King here in combat, and we will see him fight to the bitter end, because he is the Slayer King after all. I'm curious to see how he does here, because he is quite a tough lord. And look at him. He's smashing this Vampire Fleet Captain. So little health. Vampire Fleet Captain is very likely going to get murdered right now. He's going to be like, alright, I got to get out of here. I know we won the battle, but this Thorgrim guy is still batshit crazy and can kill me. he goes. The charge. Oh my god. Thorgrim. Killer. You know you can. Oh. Thorgrim going to go out just before he's able to deal the killing blow to that vampire fleet captain. So a 1-0 victory for Falcon. Ungrim, my bad. You're absolutely right. This isn't Thorgrim. This is Ungrim Iron Fist. Their names are similar. But in any case, I mean, looking at the battle here, looking at their armies, I mean, I stand by my initial assessment that this is a battle that was kind of lost on the drawing board. In the sense, like, he went very small, very elite. And I think he was hoping these cannons would force his opponent to him. Now, imagine this. Instead of any Bugman's Rangers, 2 more cannons, right? Because aren't Bugman's Rangers 800 or around there? So I feel like if he would have forced the Vampire Coast to him, he could have won that. Since he was forced to the Vampire Coast, he lost that. So, in my opinion, if he would have had a couple more artillery pieces, won that artillery duel, forced the Vampire Coast to him, these Iron Breakers could have done just fine, tanking out most of the damage from the Vampire Coast. But it didn't go that way. He got out artillery dueled. Look at the kills, 51, 55, 65, 78. Those are very good kill counts on top of artillery pieces. So the artillery MVP here for sure, in my opinion, when it comes to the Vampire Coast Army. And yeah, just well played to Falcon, I think, really bringing a solid build into the field of battle here, especially considering no terror is involved against a faction like Dowie. And let's get to it. Red faction going to be the Dowie, as we already have them, so we're good there. And blue faction will be the Wood Elves. Oh boy, let's see how this goes, guys. So starting with our blue player, we'll do the Wood Elves. Brought by Loopy. He's already won in a stream, one of the battles we streamed today. Now let's see if he can do it again. So he's going to have 5 Eternal Guard. He's going to have 1 unit of Wildwood Rangers, being the Wardens of Sithral. Aside from that, interesting choice since these guys are bonus versus large. Now, aside from that, we're going to have 5 units of War Dancers. So a very melee-oriented build for the Wood Elves today. We'll see how these War Dancers fare. Armor piercing from the Eternal Guard. Very good melee stats from the War Dancers. Now, other than this, we will have a hero squad that consists of a Spellsinger of Life with Regrowth Regrowth Shield of Thorns, as well as Blessing of the Ancients and Power Stone. And then we're going to have the Glade Lord here, just the regular old melee variant of him with the Helm of Discord, Banner of the Hunter King, and Call of the Woods. So, interesting Wood Elf army here. I think a lot of people in the stream are going to like it because there's no missile units whatsoever in it. It is all melee. Now, last but certainly not least, we have a single unit of Wildwood Riders with shields, and we'll see how these guys are used. They'll need to be used to great effect to shut down the range power of the Dowie, I imagine. But speaking of the Dowie, let's take a look at the red player now, who has brought the Dowie to the field. We have a move hacker playing as Philip is my uncle today, and he will have a front line that consists of 4 units of 5 units of miners. Looks like they will all have blasting charges. So 3 up front, 1 over here, 1 back there. He is going to have a healthy number of ranged units here, but let's start with the rest of his infantry being Longbeards. 2. So it looks like 2 Longbeards. He's going to have 2 units of Slayers, one of them being the Dragback Slayers. He's going to have 2 units of Dwarf Warriors, make that 3 units of Dwarf Warriors, make that 4 units of Dwarf Warriors. Or just kidding, so 3 units of Dwarf Warriors right here. He is then going to have ranged power, which is going to be Rangers, 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 Rangers. So 4 Rangers, 2 Bugman's Rangers, and 3 Bugman's Rangers. I stand corrected. Now, for the leadership and artillery, we have a single bolt thrower right here in the mix of this army. And then we're going to have our Rune Lord. The Rune Lord is going to have absolutely nothing on them. Just a naked Rune Lord. Gonna have some significant missile resistance though if I crawl. No, only 15% and 25% magic resist. So we'll see who comes out on top here. A full melee force from the from the Wood Elves versus a very strong ranged contingent from the Dwarves. So the Wood Elves versus the Dwarves. Wood Elves going for ultimate melee power. The Dwarves bringing in all of the ranged power, and we'll see who comes out on top. I think this is going to be a very interesting battle as Loopy takes on a move hacker. And I'm excited. I'm very excited to see who comes out on top. Wood Elf's going to be walking forward. And Lord's going to do some scouting before the battle begins. And I think what we're going to need to see here is the Wood Elves are going to need to shut down the ranged power pronto. Because as long as these these Rangers and Bugman's Rangers are alive, these War Dancers are chopped liver, and they need to be careful. These guys have absolutely no armor to speak of, 15 armor. They have 20% physical resistance, which will be very helpful to them. And then they do also have immune to psychology, which I guess it doesn't matter because there's no terror units in today's tournament. But yeah, the Archer Fire is what these guys are going to be very, very careful of. And it looks like they're going to be pushing in the woods, and I like that choice. Use these woods as much as you can for the Wood Elves. And if you can choose to get engagements in the woods, that will help you a lot in the combat to come. But yeah, it's going to be all about is how can these Wild Riders get on top of these range units, because I think the Wood Elves can actually win the melee combat if they get their engagements down right and shut down the range units or keep them busy long enough to allow their infantry to shine. Because War Dancers against Slayers, a couple of War Dancers should be able to take down Slayers without too much of a problem. Slayers are unbreakable, but War Dancers with their high melee attack, high defense, and just their anti-infantry capabilities, I think will do just fine here. Looks like we got the Glade Lord over here going to be shooting his archer rounds into the Dragonback Slayers, killing off models. He's already killed 4 models, and I really like that choice. Smart pick from the Wood Elves, using the Glade Lord just to snipe down the models of a very threatening Dowie unit. Oh my goodness, here we go, guys. So, Spellsinger of Life is diving into the miners with the blasting charges. It looks like she's doing that as a way to protect her infantry from the blasting charges, but the Dowie are going to recognize what she is up to and are going to pull out and then come over here and start throwing those blasting charges down. Boom! Overall, I would say it worked pretty well. While the War Dancers are on top of the miners, and they are absolutely shredding those miners and not taking too much damage of their own. However, more blasting charges are coming in, and we will see how the Wood Elves fare there. But oh no, look at this, the Glade Lord over here getting singled out by a ton of archer fire. However, a regrowth is going down on top of him, and he will go back to full health, I imagine, without too much of an issue. And now seeing the rest of the Wood Elves trying to close that gap, but like I said, this range power is absolutely devastating, and we're seeing a ton of the Wood Elves getting shredded before they can even close the gap. And I really hate to see this. Like, look at these War Dancers just getting pulverized by all of the archer fire. You need to shut in, come in here, put pressure on the ranged fire before you send in all of your infantry, or simultaneously. And right now I'm very worried that all the War Dancers, which are really going to be the most powerful killing unit in his army, are going to get shut down before they can do too much work. Over here, Slayers are diving in to the rest of these War Dancers, and now we're just seeing that entire flank of War Dancers. It looks like 3 strong getting absolutely melted. One of them still pretty healthy. We're going to see that extra melee defense popping down on top of them. And now all of that range fire is once again going to be focused on top of the Glade Lord again. And I don't know where he's planning on going. Spellsinger of Life is getting trounced right now. Looks like she landed too and started getting smashed. And I just feel like the Wood Elves are not doing a quick enough job of getting these surrounds down. They're letting the Dowie ranged units do too much talking. And as long as those range units are firing off, it's just more and more dead elves. And, you know, they're slowly but surely getting around this far right flank of the Dowie, but it's just not an overwhelming enough flank to really, I think, you know, fold up this Dowie line. As you can see, the leadership is still very strong on most of these Dowie units. Wild Riders are getting routed right now. The Spellsinger was routing last time I saw her. It looks like she's come back, but she's still very low on health. And the Glade Lord here is getting close to his healing cap. He does have the Helm of Discord popped, but now he just dived into a middle of a bunch of Dawi units, including some Slayers. And I have to say, I worry about his chances in this combat. Seems like the leadership for the Wood Elves right now is kind of been thrown around the battlefield a bit too carelessly, in my opinion. Not to be harsh, but I do think the Wood Elf leadership has just been diving into combat that it doesn't really need to get into, that the War Dancers got into combat a bit too early when we should have seen the Wild Riders and the Lords dive in and try to compromise some of the archers before that happened. But as I'm saying this, the Warden of Sithral are now in the backline, and look at this. These guys are on top of quite a few important Dawi range units, and they are absolutely just making minced meat of them. Here come some Wild Riders diving in, the charge bonus kicking in, just barely keeping them from routing as they finally get in on top of these guys. The Lord diving in to shore up the leadership, and bada bing, bada boom, that's a big loss for the Dawi forces there in the back line, and we will see what they can do from here. I mean, if they continue this flank, they can rush into here and hit these guys and try to kill them off completely. Wardens of Sithral, though, look like they may be coming over this direction. I'm not sure where they're going. It looks like they're diving into the Rangers here. Looks like we're about to see something go down. Was that a Shield of Thorns? Yeah, Shield of Thorns going down on top of the Wardens of Sithral. And we need to see the Wood Elves come over here and start getting rear charges on these units while they're still pinned in place. Balance of power is starting to get a bit more even, though it's not nearly as one side as it was just a moment ago. We're going to see the Wild Riders getting targeted by the Rangers. But they're going to come in and get a nice little charge on top of these blasting charges. Wardens of Sithral still getting pinned in place by these Slayers. And I have to say, the Slayers, although they're not going to win that combat outright, are doing a wonderful job with their Unbreakable trait of just pinning this very dangerous unit in place. So the rest of the Dawi forces can continue firing without interruption. There go the last of the Wild Riders, dying as they were trying to kill off these miners. We now have the Glade Lord popping Helm of Discord, and once again getting into combat, but I just feel like this Glade Lord just doesn't have enough killing power to really finish off the battle. And as you look across the field here, I mean, what units for the Wood Elves are left? We see some tattered units regrouping on the peripheries of the battlefield, but I feel like every single one of these groups, as soon as it comes into firing range, would rout almost immediately. And now that the Glade Lord here is getting sniped, I think the writing's on the wall, and we're going to see a Dawi victory here. So a GG to both players, but a move hacker going to take that victory from Loopy in a 1-0 fashion. And I mean, looking at the field of battle here, it just seems to me that the Wood Elves, first of all, had an uphill climb from the start of the battle because they had a lot of units to kill for the Dawi. 5 miners, 3 warriors, 2 longbeards, 2 slayers, not to mention the 7 units of ranged power plus the artillery piece. So on paper, this is already a tough battle, I think, for the Wood Elves. However, on top of that, I just don't know if the engagements were timed well enough to pull off an all-melee army. I like the idea from Loopy. I think these War Dancers, as you can see, 102 kills. Like, there's a ton of potential for these guys just to shred the Dawi. But what I really would have loved to have seen, frontline, Eternal Guard. Flanking force, War Dancers. The War Dancers are significantly faster than the Eternal Guard, but as we saw, it looked like he almost went for a hard right flank full of Eternal Guard rather than War Dancers, and what I would have loved to have seen is the War Dancers split up, 3 on one side, 2 on the other, only Eternal Guard in the center, have them rush forward, and then send the War Dancers out on the flanks to get around and shut down the range contingents. Don't worry about letting these guys get into combat with miners or anything until the late game. Just let the Eternal Guard pin them down. I also think this could have been a good battle for the Winterheart Guard, because I think the Unbreakable Eternal Guard would have been invaluable to help keep the leadership together and act as an anchor on the line. But very well played to a move hacker here. His ranged power was very well positioned, and I think overall the dynamic of his army is very nice. Like, he has plenty of melee units to protect his range units, a very large army that's going to be difficult for the Wood Elves to deal with, and he had quite a few tools in his kit, you know, in the form of one artillery piece, plenty of ranged power, a lot of infantry power, plus the anti-large power of these Slayers to chase off any Wild Rider flanks. So great game to both players, but that will be a GG for a Move Hackers Dowie.
So we've got Norska versus Dwarfs.
Indeed, Falcon versus a Move Hacker. And this is round 1 of a best of 3, so we'll see how it goes. I mean, what do you think of Norska versus Dwarfs overall, Ironthunder?
Overall, it's... Personally, I think the Dwarfs can easily take it, but I wouldn't count Norska out. It's a rough one, but I think Norska is capable of doing it.
Yeah, I definitely agree there. I mean, especially with some of their cheap armor-piercing units and their access to chariots. But without terror, it's going to be a lot different. No mammoths to go bulldozing these Dowie today. But do you want to do the Norseman or the Dowie army?
I'll take the Dwarves.
All
Dwarves
right.
have always been one of my old guards.
All right, well, take it away, man. What have the dwarves brought for us today?
So they have, on the side of A-Move, we have a naked lord stood at the back. No departure from form there. Got Longbeards as his main line. Longbeards, a couple of great weapons in there. Warriors of Dragonfire Pass and the Dragonback Slayers in the middle. That's going to be interesting. 4 blasting charges miners. Ulthar's Raiders, they're going to be good in case of the chariot coming in. That chariot's not going to live much longer. 2 Thunderers, 2 Iron Drakes with Trollhammer torpedoes. He's definitely trying to punish chariots here. And some Quarrelers. Yeah, he's definitely... I think he's definitely expecting chariot rush here. Because there's just a lot... I think he's expecting a lot of chariots, a lot of infantry. Just a lot in general.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's almost like this army would be very well catered to armies with mammoths and stuff. I almost wonder if maybe he has a bit too much of those Trollhammer torpedoes and anti-large for the amount of infantry the Norskins have brought. But, you know, speaking of the Norskin infantry, we got a very wide line here. And this wide line is going to consist of what appears to be 5 Marauders, as well as 5 Marauders with great weapons. 1, 2, 3, 4... Yeah, 5. And then we're going to have the Brutes of the Hound Regiment Renowned Marauder Berserkers, along with a regular old unit of Marauder Berserkers. And then behind them, there's those chariots you were just talking about, Iron. We got 1 Marauder chariot. We got 2 Chaos Sorcerers of Metal on chariots. One of them is going to have Plague of Rust. The other one is going to have Gehenna's Golden Hounds. Interesting choices for the magic there. Not expecting Plague of Rust and Gehenna's Golden Hounds, but... For the leadership, we have a Marauder Chieftain, just generic Lord with Fight or Die and nothing else. So that's going to be it for the Norskin army. And I mean, any Vanguard deployed units too are going to be the 3 Marauder Horsemen with throwing axes for that armor-piercing damage. You know, they'd be good against a gyrocopter if they're on the field, and then also getting some nice rear damage with that armor-piercing missiles. But yeah, I'm curious to see how this pans out. I mean, that's a lot of infantry for the Dowie to deal with.
It looks interesting, yeah. I think, as you mentioned earlier about A-Move with maybe too many troll hammers, I get the feeling he was anticipating a lot of chariots.
Yeah. I mean, there are 4 units of chariots on the field, but still.
There's 6 models of chariots, and the troll hammers are still going to take chunks out of the Marauders, but I think the troll hammers may have been a misjudgment here. I think it'd have fared better with Thunderers.
Yeah, I have to agree there. They're cheaper, and I think they're just a bit more versatile in what they can take out. The Troll Armor Torpedoes are very, very specialized into killing large units and chariots. And
also, I think the model count helps a lot more with the infantry swarm that's incoming.
Yeah.
Especially with a ranged unit where model count is shots per volley.
Yep, that's a very good point you're bringing up.
Troll hammers have a third of as many shots per volley as Thunderers, so it's just not going to end up well on
I mean, honestly,
on
it's
that
almost
front.
like I wish you could transform these Trollhammer torpedoes into regular Iron Drakes, because I think they would probably do a lot better here against all of this really
Yeah.
lightly armored Norscan infantry.
Yeah, a lot of lightly armored infantry.
Mm-hmm.
Only a handful of shields here, even. Because Berserkers aren't shielded, great weapons aren't shielded. None of these chariots are shielded, except for the chieftain. There's a lot of targets that just can't really handle a missile fire,
Yeah, no.
and if you get a couple of volleys off on great weapon marauders, they're not sticking around.
Absolutely, because, I mean, you know, the generic Marauders have such poor leadership in the first place anyways, where I'm very curious to see what targeting he has to go with. I mean, I would say the prioritization is to be chariots, Marauders with great weapons, and then everything else.
Yeah.
But we'll also see...
I think the Quarrelers might end up trying to just deter the throwing axes when they come in, because they still have to go somewhere, and the Quarrelers are going to be a lot better sent against those lightly armored horsemen than chariots, which is going to clink off the 100 or so armor.
Yep. Well, it does look like the Dowie are trying to play this patiently, you know, like just
Yeah,
repositioning.
Derby are playing patiently,
Yeah.
repositioning, moving around a lot.
Which I love to see. I mean, that last
Yeah.
battle we saw with the Dowie, it's always painful to see the Dowie get pulled out of their defensive geometry. And,
Yeah.
you know, this one, it looks like he has the right tools to force
Yeah.
Norska to him.
Yeah, I remember the last one I ended up casting, which was Falcon's Coast against Gobbo Slayer's dwarfs.
Yep.
And the dwarfs just got torn apart because they got pulled out of position because
Mm-hmm.
Falcon brought 4 carronades.
Yep. We were in that
And-
battle with you, actually. Yeah, the
Oh,
four
yeah, I
Coronades
forgot
versus
about
the
that. I thought you
2
were in
Dwarf
there.
Warriors.
4 carronades versus 2 and
Yeah.
Iron Breakers, and it was painful just
It
watching
was.
the Iron Breakers get torn apart by the cannon fire.
Yeah, it's always rough when you see such expensive, pretty units get pulled apart and destroyed by, you know, cannonballs. But I mean, look at Falcon right now,
Yeah.
playing this so patiently,
Yeah.
doing a full surround,
They're
like
both-
really taking
Yeah,
his
they're
time.
both playing patiently, and this is one of my issues with the dwarf play. You're playing very patiently with all of it, so they have the time to do stuff like this. They have
Yeah.
the time to turn around and get these surrounds on you.
Well, and that's why I would have loved at least one artillery piece, just one piece to put some pressure.
They needed something, because at the minute all they've got are these Quarrelers trying to pincushion the Marauders, and that so far they've taken a single model off them with about 3 volleys, and they've taken a model.
Yeah.
Oh, some blasting charges going off on the brutes of the Hound here. That's going to be...
Yeah, they're going to need to get as much damage done to these guys as possible on the approach.
Yeah.
Looks like some blasting charge damage should...
Oh. Chariots are going on the great weapon Longbeards.
But here come the Thunderers to answer, and they're focusing on the Marauder Chieftain.
Aye. Folks, the Troll Hammers have turned around and are opening fire now.
Man, yeah, and one volley from Trollhammers could do so
One
much
volley,
work. But here
yeah.
comes the Gehenna's Golden Hounds, doing some really good damage on those Thunderers.
Yeah, Thunderers, is wandering into the Quarrelers as well. That's going to be interesting.
Yeah.
These Longbeards with great weapons are just getting throwing axes pelted at them as well. These miners with blasting charges are routed with a full tank of ammo still.
Yeah.
Brutes of the Hound just got in and took them out.
Well, now the
On all
chariots
front-
are in the cookie jar,
Yeah,
and they're going to start rounding.
yeah, the chariots are in, and that's going to be a fun one because he doesn't have much in the way of lockdown. He doesn't have much to try and keep these chariots stuck. But everything's going now, though. The chieftain's routed. That scroll of that damage with this scroll did not do him any good.
I mean... Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Nah, I was just saying the throwing axes got on them as well. I think didn't see, but I think they might have dropped a Mark of Ulthar on them.
Yeah, I believe they did, and I mean...
Chariots.
Marauder
Because
Chieftain...
that makes sense for why the Chaos Chariots and the Chieftain just melted.
Yeah, absolutely, and I mean... Now the Norskins are down from 6 to 2 chariots. So,
Yeah.
we'll see. I mean, that's a big victory for the dwarves, but it just seems like there's so
But that-
much
yeah.
Norscan infantry
I'm not-
compromising everything
yeah.
in the dwarf army to where I don't really know how well they can do as this battle wears on. But as I say that, these Trollhammer torpedoes are still wrecking the chariots. One of the shaman sorcerers
Yeah, that
going
shaman
down so low.
yeah, that shaman's third health now. I think it was near full when it engaged.
Yeah, no, it dropped health so quickly, and it's one of those things where it's, you know, the Norskins are getting infantry compromising most of the Dowie position, but at what cost? They've lost pretty much all of their leadership units, and if the Dowie... Yeah, if the Dowie can kill the leadership, then they could potentially win this just on the back of their strong leadership. And look, the Dragonback Slayers are still untouched. The Dwarf Lord is still
chariots
untouched.
are coming back, though. I don't think the Lord... I think the Lord's off the map by now, but the chariots are coming back, and that's going to be interesting, because the part of the line they're coming at, there's... Everything's going the other way, it seems. Because, if you scroll back a bit, a lot of the Norscan infantry is routed away and is on its second rally, or is just sat stationary.
Well, yeah, and I mean, I'm still looking at dwarf infantry, and I still see some Longbeards that are very healthy. The Warriors of Dragonfire pass. The Trollhammer torpedoes are hurt, but they're still in play.
Yeah.
And look, both of the Shaman Sorcerers are so low on health now.
Yeah.
So,
like the Norskins, I don't think they've actually managed to take out anything of major value except most of a Trollhammer unit. Like there's some Longbeards are just about going, but a lot of the main core, there's a lot of Longbeards still going. The Dragonbacks are still alive.
Yep.
The regiment renowned Dwarf Warriors are still holding. The Quarrelers are nearly full strength. The Thunderers are still up.
Yep.
This Shaman Sorcerer's dead.
I mean, it looks like the dwarves are in a strong position right now. I mean, they have two very healthy Longbeards right now, blocking out most of the Norscan infantry, and the remnants of the missile power that the dwarves still have in the field are proven to be more than enough to keep those Shaman Sorcerers from ever coming back to the battle, because every time they come close, they just get killed. So
the Quarrelers have turned around. They're on the throwing axes now, and the throwing axes, I think, managed to take out Ulthar's raiders, but now the Quarrelers are making them pay for every salvo they come in for, it seems.
Yep.
You just turn around and they're the face full of arrows.
Yeah, I mean, and pretty much the only Norscan infantry on the field right now that's coming close to holding itself together is the Brutes of the Hound, but that's because they're unbreakable, but they're basically dead.
They've just been sat chewing miners all game.
Yep. Taking blasting charges to the faces and then fighting miners, which is not what they want to deal with.
Yeah.
But, I mean, I would say that was a pretty convincing victory for the Dowie.
Yeah.
I mean, it looked pretty hairy there, but I think for the whole battle, the Dowie were setting the pace. What are your thoughts there?
Yeah, I think the Dwarfs, it might have looked a bit shoddy at a couple of points, but the Dwarfs when they managed to get the Marauder Chieftain routing that early, there wasn't enough of a way to actually cover that. There didn't seem to be, when he sent the chariots in, there didn't seem to be much of an exit strategy either.
Yeah, no.
Just hope the chariots can get back out on their own. There wasn't really any supporting infantry or anything to get out through.
Yeah, no,
or anything
absolutely.
to keep the pressure after the chariots had made their shock.
Yeah, I mean, I'm trying to think about what he could have done differently there, because you're absolutely right. It just didn't seem like the chariots were able to get in and out the way they needed to. Did they need some other units, like some some warhounds or something, to help basically dive in with them, stay in combat, allowing the chariots to pull out and in more easily? Or, what do you think they needed to
honestly, I think with the army he had, he might have been better off if he'd waited for the infantry to engage before sending the chariots in. So that way the infantry was there for him to get out through, at least, if he needed to. And that the infantry, if the dwarf infantry turned around to target chariots, then the Norscan infantry could press that and get closer to the missiles. Which one do you want to take?
Well, I'm easy, honestly. I'll go ahead and cover the Lizardmen really quick if you want to do the Empire.
Okay, you start on the lizardman then.
All right, let's go ahead and take a look here. So, lizardmen appear to have 3 skink cohort with javelins, 1 unit of chameleon skinks in the center. They're going to have another 3 units of red-crested skinks, it would seem. And then over on their far left flank, they're going to have 2 units of horde ones with a cold one rider supporting. And then on the far right flank, we're going to have some cold one riders. Now, behind the infantry line, we're going to have 2 units of Kroxigor, these big monstrous units that don't cause terror, so they should be pretty useful. I don't know. We'll see how they fare against the Empire. I worry because of spearmen and halberdiers and how they'll perform in this fight. But other than that, the last units remaining are going to be the leadership. We got a Skink Priest of Heavens. Doesn't have Wind Blast and Harmonic Convergence and nothing else. Very popular magic choice for the Lizardmen lately. And then we're going to see a Saurus Oldblood also on top of a cold one. And he's going to have the Horn of Kygor, Stand Your Ground, along with the Amulet of Itzel and Foe Seeker. Now, what do the Empire got for us?
A lot. Okay.
Oh,
So
God.
let's start. We've got Balthazar Gelt in the back here. On foot, he has absolutely nothing.
What
He's
the
literally
shit?
got a naked Gelt to stand in a corner. We've got 4 units of Empire Knights here. We've got Halberdiers, Swordsmen for the front line. I believe we've got 4 of each. Kind of hard to see with all the trees and all. Yeah, I think we've got 4 of each. We've got some spearmen defending the back of the handgunner line. There's 3 handgunners, 3 spearmen, some more halberdiers. We've got 2 outriders on the front left, which is going to be which is going to be useful. The armor piercing is going to make short work of Kroxigors and cold ones. Yeah, it's got a lot of bodies in a lot of forest and a lot of cavalry.
Yeah, I mean, and
Right. Yeah.
so it looks like he's just going for a no magic build then. Like,
Yeah.
okay.
It's Amu. He's crazy like that.
Well, gotta respect it, you know. Gotta
Yeah.
respect the no magic move against a player like Falcon. We'll see what the logic is. I mean, it's just weird to me not to have a net or any kind of magic whatsoever. But
Yeah.
I guess he's trying to make a point.
Maybe. But equally, when we look at it, it's like he's got the sheer numbers on the infantry that I think he'll just be able to overwhelm the Skinks and the Kroxigors.
Yeah.
If these outriders get into a position where they can fire on the Kroxigors, those Kroxigors are just gonna go like completely off the field and we'll never see them again. But then we've got Empire Knights in the back, and
Yeah.
when he's got Horned Ones, Saurus Oldblood, Horn of Kygor, those Empire Knights are just going to charge in and get smashed to pieces. You
Yeah.
have to play a lot more defensively, and there isn't really even a target for these Empire Knights because these chameleon skinks are just going to run away from them. The javelins that are just going to get supported. They've got cold one riders, horned ones that can rush them out. The red crests are going to hit them on the way out, and charging Kroxigors is dangerous at best. Just isn't a target for these Empire Knights, and there's 4 of them sat in the back here.
Well, I guess we'll see. I mean, I think the Empire Knights, if he's going to use them to the best effect, should be used just simply to kill off the infantry in a convincing manner, because Empire Knights are going to be needed to deal with all this greenskin infantry, and I think they'll be able to do just that, but you're absolutely right. They have
Greenskin
to avoid-
infantry?
Sorry, lizardmen infantry. They have greenskins! But yes, the lizardmen infantry. But speaking of the lizardmen, I mean, here they come, a hard left flank with these horned ones. But
Yeah.
as I said that, they actually stopped dead in their tracks.
Yeah, I think they saw. Yeah, the reveal came up, so I think they saw the halberdiers and
Yeah.
decided, I don't want to do this anymore.
That's
Yeah,
fair.
These
I mean,
handgunners, there's a unit of handgunners already routing off. The Empire Knights are moving forward.
that
these
skink
outriders-
priest with that wind blast is absolutely
Oh,
devastating.
the wind blast went down, did it?
Yeah, the wind blast got those
Should have got that. Those handgunners would have just. I don't. And this is part of the issue with how he's set up. I don't know if these handgunners are going to rally. There's a lot here, and I don't know if some of it doesn't rally in time, he's off very quickly. He hasn't
Yeah.
given himself much space.
I couldn't agree more, and it seems weird to be in the forest for this deployment when I feel like the main reason you'd want to be in the forest is because of dinosaurs like crocs, carnosaurs and stuff. But in this No Terror tournament, he doesn't need to worry about that. But oh man, another devastating wind blast just melted those halberdiers.
Oof, yeah. It's the halberdiers, I think, that he's scared of here. Because
Yeah.
if the halberdiers get on these Coal One riders, or even the horned ones, then that's going to start ripping them open. And at the minute, there's just a lot of fire traders, a lot of handgunners, outriders, just shooting at skink cohorts, wasting ammo almost on just skink cohorts rather than proxies or the cavalry that's actually, actual value targets.
Yeah, no, I mean, right now I'm kind of perplexed by the deployment and also the lack of magic in the Empire Army and just what I'm seeing. But
Another wind blast goes down. Oh god, another wind blast gone down, and those halberdiers are
they're
going.
Yeah, the wind
They've
blast
been
is just a
knocked
perfect
down,
counter.
and now these horned ones are now the horned ones have hit the unit. They're just pushing in on these halberds, and they're not coming back ever again.
Yep, they just completely routed. Wind blast is the
proxies
perfect counter to these cheap Empire chaff units. I mean, these lightly armored halberds, swordsmen, handgunners, everything. Wind blast is just so perfect.
Yeah, speaking of, there's been the Empire Knights are starting to push out finally, riding through some Cold One riders to hit skink javelins. Now the Cold One riders are just swarming them here. It's not a pretty sight.
Yeah, well, same thing's happening over here on the Empire right flank. We have all of the Empire Knights dived in on top of Horned Ones and Cold One Riders.
Yeah.
And now they're trying to pull out, and it's just the slaughter
There's proxy
ensues.
doors in the way.
Yeah.
And chameleon skinks providing covering fire, so none of them can actually get out because of poison.
Yeah, I mean, red-crested skinks are behind lines too on top of handgunners. It just seems like the lizardmen have completely crumpled.
The lizardmen have just crumpled the front line.
Yeah.
And now they're just running back. Yotes just stood on a hill like, this is fine. And a move pulls out.
Falcon.
Oh wait,
It's all good.
One of them-
I call
one of
them
them
green
stepped
skins
out.
for God's sakes.
One of them pulled out.
But
Yeah.
I have to say it's
A move took the loss.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
that
think
was-
A-Move played that very, not to be harsh, that was kind of a 180 from the last battle where I just don't think A-Move played that well.
Yeah, right. Yeah, A move. Yeah, it was I think it was just completely the wrong build. Like, if he'd gone a bit more infantry heavy, if Falcon had gone more infantry heavy, I mean, that build might have worked. But with the cavalry focus, the Empire Knights were kind of a bit of a waste.
Yeah.
There just wasn't a target there for them, except for maybe skink javelins, and that's not getting your money back off 4 Empire Knights.
Yeah.
You're doing better with pistoliers.
No, I mean, that army just kind of didn't work for me.
I don't think it worked for anyone.
I mean, yeah, I
It
definitely
was a
think it could've
good
been-
army.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a good army, just not in this matchup.
Yeah, a good army not in this matchup, and also just not in the way it was deployed, I think is my biggest gripe with it, is like you have handgunners and Empire Knights, which to me are going to be some of the bigger, heavy, they're the damage units in your army here, right? So they need to be in open field to get the maximum effect, because Knights and Cavalry do better out in the open field, not in a forest, and same with handgunners. So I don't know why he didn't take that hill advantage. I don't know why he deployed further into the corner in the forest. It was kind of strange decisions for me across the board.
Yeah. I think it's going to end up going for the Wood Elves, simply because most of the Lizard Men, most everything you'd take as Lizard Men in this matchup, a good chunk of it is banned already.
Yeah.
So there's no solar engines or anything. I'm not quite sure how Wild Riders do against Horned Ones, but it's a painful trade for both, I feel. And they just need something to shut down the archers here, I feel. I'm interested to see how A-Move does that, because if he can't take out these archers, he's not going to be able to, well, handle anything. He's just going to have any win conditions pincushioned. And I don't know what he's got, what win conditions he's even got outside of cavalry here. It's just not pretty.
Yeah, I'm very nervous going into this fight. I mean, it looks like Shetland Apache thinks this is actually a good matchup for people versus the Wood Elves because of the ridge, but that's what I love about these map debates is everybody interprets the maps differently.
Yeah, I think it would be a good matchup if there wasn't a terror rule here.
Yeah, that's totally fair. The terror rule makes this totally different, and then as far as factions go, Lizardmen may be the faction singly most infected by the terror rule.
Yeah, I went through and made a list and I think the counts lose a lot more. I think the counts might lose a little more.
Yeah.
But both lose a lot of stuff. And it's a lot of the vital stuff as well. It's why I don't think we ever saw a counts line up.
Mm-hmm.
Right, so which faction do you want then?
I'm easy. I'll let you pick this route. They both have pretty big armies.
Let's have a look at the Wood Elves then.
All right, let's see it.
Let's start. Right, okay, so we have a Glade Lord on an eagle with Arrow of Kernus and the Prey of Aneth Raymer. So he's going for a sniping lord on an eagle, basically. We've got Vanguarded Swift Shiver Shard Scouts. Try saying that 3 times fast. We've got a Branch Wraith up here with Earthblood and Pendulum. That's going to be an interesting set. Here's line infantry here. We've got Eternal Guard with shields and War Dancers, Azray Spear War Dancers, which seems like a decent token line. Just something for the archers to fall behind. And then in the woods, we've got 3 shielded Wild Riders, which is going to be... It's going to be a fun one.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. It's a pretty typical... I'd say it's a pretty typical Wood Elf build for a part. There's enough to tie down infantry and dissuade a lot of cavalry. The archers are magical, so there's enough to get through a lot of things.
Yeah.
And yeah, Wild Riders are Wild Riders. So how about these lizards then? Is Aim regretting it?
I don't know. I mean, I think I'm very curious to see how this battle works out because right now we're definitely going to have a Vanguard deployment situation where the beginning of this battle is going to be very telling for the remainder of the battle. But we have 4 Chameleon Skinks vanguarded up front, right next to the Wild Riders and the Deepwood Scouts. But behind them we have the Umbral Tide, Regiment Renowned Salamander Hunting Pack with 2 Cold One Spear Riders. And then for the rest of the Lizardman army, oh my god, these Wild Riders are coming right out after these Chameleon Skinks, but I don't know.
Mistakes were made in 3, 2, 1.
Yeah. Oh man, but I have to say these Wild Riders are running into a dangerous position.
Yeah, 5 models gone off that first volley from the Umbral Tide.
Oh, those fireballs are so deadly.
I think and now they're taking another one. They're just losing a lot more health here because this time they don't have the silver shields backing them up.
Absolutely.
I think there goes the Prey of... Oh, Prey's gone down on these Cold One Spear Riders, and that's not pretty.
Not pretty at all. And
a lot of damage, but there's no models down yet on those netted spear ones. Wait, there's one. Just a lot of damage, but not many models gone. They're still mostly up. And yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the Wood Elves look like they're definitely getting the better of this engagement on the far flank. I mean, Chameleon Skinks, a lot of them low on leadership and health, and same with the Cold One Spear Riders, but the Umbral Tide has been able to pull out without taking too much damage. And the rest of the Lizardman army is now getting pulled up.
Been collapsed on.
Oh, yeah.
Like, these Cold One Spear Riders, I think, Pan's Impenetrable Pelts got popped on them, but I don't think it's going to do much. I think they're just going to go straight off the map edge here.
Absolutely, and there they go.
The chameleons are all going or gone.
Yeah, this is looking pretty precarious. I mean, the Lizardmen, a lot of their infantry is out of position. Speaking of that lit infantry that I didn't cover, it looks like Sora spears 2 of them. and some skink cohort, a couple of javelins, and then for the leadership of the Lizardman army, have that skink priest a beast, see him putting that Pan's impenetrable pelt, and he also has Wissen's wild form on there. But at this point in the fight, it looks like, in spite of some initial damage done to the Wood Elf skirmishers, they have come out on top, and now it's Deepwood scouts with the Lizardman army at their mercy, because I don't see any speed on the Lizardman side to catch these range units.
Yeah, there really isn't much speed in the Lizardman roster, to be honest, in some cases.
Yeah.
Like, the cold ones aren't the fastest. Most all of the cavalry would pull away from them, as we saw at the start, really.
Yeah.
If the cold ones were like horned ones, maybe it'd be a threat, but with it just being cold ones, they're slow, the Wild Riders can actually pull out. Yeah, I don't see a way for the Lizards to get back into this. The hunting packs, what backline's left is thoroughly compromised by Wild Riders and the War Dancers.
Yeah, I mean, they have the Saurus Spears that are doing their best, but it's just they can't pin down the Wild Riders. The Wild Riders are just going to keep on bulldozing the back line. Umbral Tide's on.
This red-crested skink chief's just been dived by the Lord, and he's routing. And I think when the Lord goes...
There's the terror route, and I mean the chain route.
I think we're just going to see... Maybe not when the Lord goes, but if he kills the Lord or if he breaks the caster, then I think that's just going to be army losses and everything collapses.
Yeah, I think the only thing keeping the Lizardmen together right now is the 3 healthy or somewhat healthy Saurus Spears and the priest still being alive. But it's
it's got a skink cohort, couple of Saurus Spears, and then the Legion of Shaq was holding strong still somewhat, but...
Yeah, I mean, we do have some
this priest only
coming up for a nice rear charge to help out the Legion of Shaqwa.
Yeah, as it stands, I think the minute any of these Wild Riders turn... Yeah, there's army losses.
There we go, army loss kicking in.
Yeah.
But great games to a move hacker, but Falcon had come out on top.
It was a great showing,
Yeah.
I think if he'd picked something... if he hadn't forgotten about the terror rule, I don't think he'd have picked Lizards there for one. He'd have actually pulled it up.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was just...
Yeah.
Honestly, I think, as much as it was, I think it was just bad luck that he vanguarded his Chameleon Skinks on the same side as the Wild Riders.
Yeah.
If he'd vanguarded them on the other side, it would have gone completely differently.
Mm-hmm.
But those Chameleon Skinks... 22 quick kills between them.
Yep. And then
they were off the map instantly.
Yeah.
And then he sent in the Cold One Spears to back them up, and they got mullered.
Yeah.
Umbral Tide didn't get much value. It just started bad and went worse.
Yeah, unfortunately, that just was one of those battles where, it feels like the Lizardmen were on their heels from the initial engagement because, they got caught in that bad Vanguard scenario. And then once they were caught off guard there, they were trying to catch up the rest of the battle. But Falcon is just not the kind of player that lets the pressure up. If he gets an initial advantage, then he's going to keep swinging and not let you catch your breath. And right there, he did exactly that. The Lizardmen just were never able to catch their breath again. Yeah,
you can tell because look at the kills on the Wild Riders. Got 45 on a battered one that I think got caught on something. And then 95 on one that got another chevron even.
Mm-hmm.
And 126. Those Wild Riders just got in, and there wasn't... And after the Cold One Spears were gone, there was nothing they really were afraid to get into melee with, except for them Saurus Spears. They could just bounce around and take everything out of the picture.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Saurus Warriors are the only threatened unit, and that's a problem because there's no way Saurus Warriors are ever going to catch Wild Riders unless the other player lets them get caught. So
at most, it's just a charge dissuader.
And by the way, a move hacker, I see you in the chat. You were not a massive idiot. I think you just had a lapse of remembering the no terror rule and when you picked a Lizardman, which was unfortunate because the terror rule really hurts a Lizardman with those Bastillodonts of Solar Engines even being affected. So I think you played very well. Also, for future reference, I changed the Season 3 tournament rules to where players are allowed to bring one faction twice to a best of 3 or a best of 5. So just so you know, if you want to play Dwarfs more than once, you're allowed to do that.
Okay, so let's start with the big one, shall we? Marathi.
Oh,
Got Melkos, Soul Stealer, Power of Darkness on her Pegasus. We've got Heartrender and the Dark Sword, so when she goes in, she might be able to stay in. Both life leeching and spiteful conjuration and arcane conduit. Marathi's going to be a nasty customer for them.
Well, yeah.
On top of that, we've got Cold One Knights, 2 of them in the back here, and 3 Cold One Chariots. This could be interesting. And especially given what I can see from the greenskin side. And then the front line, we've got Dread Spears, got 2 Dread Spears, 2 Bleak Swords, and 3 Sisters of Slaughter. It's a very expensive build in parts, but yeah, it's an interesting setup. But given what I can see of the greenskins, I'm not sure it's going to work. Take it away.
Well, let's see what the greenskins have brought for us. I mean, we get a front line here consisting of Night Goblins being the 8 Peak Loonies Unbreakable with 2 Savage Orcs on either flank. We're going to have them backed up by 4 Orc Error Boys. We are then going to have 2 Gobos, 1 on either flank. We're going to have 2 Orc Boar Boy Biggins, and in between them the Nasty Skulkers for that Smoke Bomb. I'm glad I decided to put Wurzag up on the faction banner because guess who the Lord is? It's Wurzag on foot dancing around with Effigy to get Wah, Fist of Gork, Brainburster, as well as Wurzag's Revenge and the Warpaint of Wurzag. We're then going to have a Doomdiver Catapult here, a very popular pick lately as it does quite a lot of damage and fills a very nice niche role since the last patch. And then we have a Night Goblin Shaman with nothing but Vindictive Glare, Wand of Jet, and Sneaky Stealing. And Mogrim's Magi Marauders out here taking a Melikos Mystifying Miasma to the face as they begin to shoot in some of their armor-piercing rounds. But I would pull them the hell out of here. The Cold One Chariot's ammunition is just doing too much damage to their models, along with Melikos Mystifying Miasma.
Yeah. The point I was going for was, I'm not a big fan. I'm not really too sure how the Chariots are going to do when they've got a Doomdiver.
Yeah. That Doomdiver.
The Doomdiver can take chunks out of these Chariots.
I mean, fortunately, there is only one Doomdiver, but with the way they're deployed right now, watch these Doomdivers come in. Oh my god, this could be very vicious because they're so bunched up.
Also, I think it's forgotten about these, but there's Spider Riders up in the forest and behind them.
Oh, I did. Thank you.
There's just Spider Riders up in the back corner, and I think Slade's forgotten about them as well.
Well, I guess we both forgot about them because, they're just sitting there looking pretty.
It's interesting what he's doing with these Marauders. It's almost like he's trying to pull the leadership away so that when he pulls a war in, he can try and get a smash through.
Yeah.
And just try and break at some part anywhere.
Between the Brainbuster as well as this Doomdiver Catapult, he's doing so much damage, and now the Sisters of Slaughter are going to get shot by so many archers.
Here's war. Yeah, here comes the war. This is going to be big.
Yes, it is.
2 of these Sisters of Slaughter are at half health.
Oh,
so they're not actually missing too many models.
Well, the one of them's down to no health, and it's getting ready to rout.
One of them's gone already.
Oh my god, all 3 of the Sisters of Slaughter are down to quarter health or lower. Getting absolutely trounced by the Savage Orcs with that Wah. And then the Chariots are getting smashed by the Orc Boar Boy
Cold
Biggins.
Ones coming in a little bit too late, I think. These Cold Ones, they might be alright now that the war's over, but there's just a unit of Goblins over here holding off Dread Spears and Cold One Knights.
Oh my god, yeah, and that's what you call cost value.
Yeah, these Spider Riders over here, I think at this point I'd be bringing them in to mop up these Sisters of Slaughter rather than having the archers try and mop it up.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Chariots are toast, I think. I think all of them, there's some that managed to get through the back line, but they've got Boar Boy Biggins on them. Yeah, the cavalry's starting to get into the back, but...
I mean, Marathi could pop a huge Soul Stealer right here. That's one thing I'm keeping an eye out for.
That'd be fun. But as it stands,
greenskins.
Wurzag's in the middle of it, but all Arrow Boys are pretty sturdy. Boar Boy Biggins hurt, and when you're at this close a range, I don't think any Dark Elves have here wants to take a point blank overcast Vindictive Glare.
Yeah, no, not at all. And I mean, to me, it just looks like You look at the Cold One Knights, they just got hit by the Board Boy Biggins hitting them from the outside, and it's just
Yeah.
like the Dark Elves have
They've just
very little on the
crushed.
field.
Yeah, there just isn't much left.
Yeah, like the Greenskins have been dominating this.
The Sisters of Slaughter are starting to rally back, but they're a handful.
Did you see that micro from Slade X pulling Wurzag out as
Yeah,
the Soul
Wurzag
Stealer was
pulled
going
out.
down?
Yeah,
That was beautiful.
that was perfect. One.
perfect indeed.
Yeah. As it stands, I don't see a way the Dark Elves can really come back from this. Marathi can't solo everything.
No.
This
Even
Doom
with a
Diver-
perfect Soul Stealer, I just don't think she can deal enough
Yeah.
damage.
Even with a perfect box, obviously, yeah, there's nothing. There's just too much left.
Yeah.
Actually, I know Wurzag's looking like he's in a shoddy spot here. He might be able to get. Wurzag might go down, but even so,
Yeah, but if that smoke bomb goes down, then Marathi's dead to rights, and yeah, let's see if the smoke bomb on the Nessus Volkers.
There's 4 boys in.
Yeah.
All Archer Fire is going to get focused on here in about 2 seconds.
Yeah, Marathi's speed is down to 26 with that smoke bomb, so I think the writing's on the wall.
Her leadership's gone down further. Yeah, that's it then. GG.
GG indeed.
Gotta hand it to him. Slade played that beautifully.
Definitely.
Yeah. As Loopy said in chat, charging uphill into a war, not something you want to be doing.
Absolutely not.
It's like you got the downhill and war, and Orcs already have a good charge bonus. It's no wonder the Sisters of Slaughter just poof.
Disappeared.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, and it's just like looking at this army from the Greenskins compared to the Dark Elves, and this is just kind of also a matter of how Greenskins armies work, but the utility in this army. He had an artillery piece that was getting so much value. His archers got so much value. His Mogreb's Mage and Marauders were even getting value. His Orc Board Boy Biggins were in there. He had infantry in there. So many moving parts, so many different tools in his toolkit to deal with this Dark Elf army, whereas the Dark Elf army, in my opinion, was very straightforward, very undynamic. It was just 2 cav pieces, 3 pieces of chariots, and all infantry other than that, and the Lord. Whereas the Greenskin, just a lot of moving parts, and you could see the synchrony he was able to find with all those moving parts.
Yeah.
Somebody pointed out very aptly, because he went on to lose the battle, it's like, it seems that Beastmen need to win their engagements in 5 minutes or less, otherwise they just lose the engagement.
Yeah.
It's one of those
It
things where
gets
they have to
to-
smash
it-
and grab quick.
It can struggle, yeah. With me, it's just going to come down to how much cavalry did Mukit bring. Because when I play Beastman quite a bit, and one of the biggest struggles against Empire is when they dedicate more to cavalry than you do. Because if they can take the cavalry fight, you're going to struggle to get your engagements.
Absolutely. And Empire Cavalry, without any mobility from the Beastmen challenging it, can just make such quick work of Beastmen infantry.
Like, even Empire Knights, there's just there's not a lot to handle them. So
Absolutely.
with that, you mind if I take the Beastman?
Not at all, sir. You go ahead. I took the Greenskins,
Right.
so you can take the Beastmen.
Here we go. First up, we have Morga the Shadowgave. We've got his Stave of Ruinous Corruption, Foe Seeker, Spirit Essence of Chaos, typical Morga base. And then we have a Death Shaman on foot with Jagged Dagger, Spirit Leech, Fate of Yuna. Pretty typical stuff on that. I'm not a fan of Beastman Caster Chariots. They go down quite quickly.
That they do.
And then for a melee line here, we've got Shielded Gore Herds, 5 of them, with Blackhorn's Ravagers front and centre. And Ungor Spear Herds with shields, 2 with shields on the flanks. Harpies in the back. There's, I think I saw a second unit of Harpies somewhere. Maybe only the one. They look quite big. No, they're there.
Yeah, true, yeah.
Yeah. 2 units of Razor Gore Herds. 3 Centigores with great weapons. I reckon he might have the tools for this mobility. And what's this in the back here? Poison Warhounds in the back corner. That's going to be interesting. He's definitely got the tools to handle a lot of cavalry. Like with this build he's brought, I'd be confident going up against, say, 4 Empire Knights. And yeah.
Definitely, because you
Anyway.
have the 2 spearmen on either flank, plus Centaurs of great weapons, plus Razor Gore Herd. And what that gives you is a lot of bonus versus large, a lot of mass and armor piercing.
Yeah. Bonus versus large isn't even that massive. It's just, you can just take it with the Centaurs and the pigs and maybe the poison hounds. You just go in, cripple them, and they'll just slump.
Well, I have to say, we're definitely getting ahead of ourselves in terms of talking about cavalry, because the Empire has brought none of it besides 1 unit of Demogryph Knights with halberds that I can see. So.
Ouch!
Yeah.
That's not good.
What just happened? Oh, goodness! Ratio to death.
With that, I think that was a Spirit Leech, and I think that was a Shem's Burning Gaze.
Oh, that's what it was, man. Yeah, that devastated that guy.
I saw it go off, and I went over to look at the lack of cavalry, and just look away for a second, and the caster's at half health.
Well, fun fact, it wasn't... it was, yeah. Shem's Burning Gaze, and out of a Mintok on top of the Light Wizard. The Death Wizard had Spirit Leech, and both of them have their banner abilities, which are Blast. And yeah, that Bray Shaman...
caster is going... That caster's going to rout any second, I think.
Absolutely.
At this point, I'd be pulling Morgur back to try and keep the Encourage over.
Oh my god, Fated unit going down on top of the halberds. The front line of Beastmen meeting up against our front line of Empire, which is going to be 5 halberdiers, along with 3 flagellants, a back line made up of 5 spearmen, and then 3 crossbows in the middle. And then there's going to be an Archlector in the center with the Grand Hammer of Sigmar being his only ability. So, yeah, we're about to see a break in the center, though, and then I think the Beastmen are going to eat everything else up for breakfast.
When they get in, they're just going to wrap around and just crush outwards.
Yep.
And just leave the center open for anything. And this is the issue I've got. He's got Demigryphs with Lance, Halberd Demigryphs. That is both too much and not enough on your cavalry.
Yep.
Like
too much and not enough. I like how you put that.
Yeah, you've massively overinvested in a unit and you've not taken enough. Because Demigryph Lancers, you don't need that much armor-piercing anti-large at all for anything in the Beastman roster.
Yeah.
Like, not even Minotaurs.
Well, and look at this. The Light Wizard is trying to kill off the Death Shaman, but now he's getting caught between a bunch of Centaurs, and that just may be
that's going to be an aggressive walloping.
Yeah.
This this Amethyst Wizard just floating, like... Is he going to go in and try and save the Light Wizard, or... No, they just... I think he's got them both on a grouped hotkey. I think he's trying to get the Death Wizard to go and run off the Shaman and make sure he doesn't rally on 2 HP.
Yeah. I mean, I'm looking around. The Empire army, the infantry is holding surprisingly well. I have to be completely honest.
Yeah, that's the thing though. A lot of the Beastmen, it's like, when you look at it, like, Flagellants, when you look at the trade-off, like, Flagellants trade surprisingly well into shielded gore herds.
Yeah.
Because when you look at it, Flagellants are like 40 and something. And then shielded gore herds are like 25 melee attacks, 35 melee defense.
Yeah.
They're very good at holding, but they're not very good at killing. They'll win eventually, but speaking of though, this Archlector's in a bit of a pickle, because Razor Gore herds are rampaging on him. Blackhorn's Ravagers are there. Morgur stood next to him, and Morgur's just not going to die.
No. But I have to be honest, I mean, look at the Centaurs with great weapons. They've been trying to break into the backline, and they just keep on getting engagements on top of Spearmen, and these crossbows are being used to great effect. They've killed off so many Centaurs, and...
It's a surprising thing,
Empire's coming back. Like, Empire's doing okay right now.
Yeah, he is. The trick, I think, here is going to be, with Beastman, when it routs, it usually does tend to come back at some point. But it's going to be a case of keeping this formation together. Oh, he left.
Yeah, Sladex conceded defeat.
Fair. But
that was looking like it was starting to flip around.
Trick is, it was a good strategy. The spears tend to hold a lot longer than the Beastman infantry. And, it was a good strategy, but...
Do you think he gave up prematurely there?
Yeah. I think, I don't know. I don't know. I think he might have been able to do it at some point, but I don't know. I think he might have been past it there. If he'd managed to take the Demigriffs out early, and just because half of the issue with this box formation with just hot, tanky spears, you need to break it apart somehow. And with Beastmen, there wasn't much mass or anything to try and get through, or just the closing he had was if he routed, he had to hope that there was just a pull apart to try and chase them down, and then the routing stuff would rally, which it usually does with Beastmen, and you can get back in. Yeah.
Optimus Prime, the other caster is Ironthunder. He also had a tournament scheduled the same day as I did, so we combined forces to make a super tournament.
We combined forces. I took my special rule, I put it on his tournament, and then we went with it from there.
Boom, boom, boom. But, oh crap, Dark Elves versus...
Dark Elves Norsca on Alpine Ridge.
Oh my god, I got it ready now. I'm sorry, guys. Here's the intro card.
This is going to be an interesting one.
Yeah, I think so. We'll see who comes out on top. Oh, it's still the old one.
Yeah, so do you got a preference which one you want to take?
You know, I really don't. I'll let you decide.
I'll have a look at Dark Elves then, because this looks like the sort of Dark Elf build I usually run.
Alright, well, let's see what they got.
We have 2 Dark Riders with shields. I get the feeling they're going to get vanguarded somewhere for mobility in a minute. Front line, we've got Dread Spears. I can see why, but also they're just going to be Marauder fodder. Got some Sisters of Slaughter. I don't remember how they do against Marauders, but it's going to... But the longer that takes, the worse it is for them. We've got the Raven Heralds. Now, this is a fun pick, because there's not too much in the Norscan roster that can actually threaten Raven Heralds. They're just going to fly around, pick a target, and just start taking shots at it all game.
Wait, hold on really quick. Sorry to interrupt, but I'm pretty sure they have... Do they have Ultra unit size on? Oh, no. Never mind, they're good.
Yeah, they're good.
Sorry, my bad. Go ahead.
In the middle here, we've got 3 Dark Shards. Armor, which are pretty solid. Armor piercing, decent range. They work. A Reaper Bolt Thrower. Another solid pick, especially given the amount of large stuff Norsca can still field. Cold One Knights in the back that they'll do well at dissuading anything that comes in, but I'm not too sure Norsca can still kind of run rings around them with Skin Wolves. So yeah, Dread Spears, Bolt Thrower. The Raven Heralds out in the woods. The main thing with the Dark Riders positioned how they are, there's not much visibility on the enemy lines here, but other than that, it looks somewhat alright. Anyway, let's have a look at what Norsca's got.
Yeah. By the way, quick shout out. How many flying units have the hide trait?
How many flying units have the hidden trait?
Yeah, because I
didn't
if
any.
Know.
I get the feeling
Raven Heralds then.
I think it might well just be Raven Heralds.
Okay. Because I didn't realize they could hide in the forest. It's not something I'm used to seeing for a flying unit.
It's almost like they just took the repeater crossbow regular unit and then just stuck them on a flying unit, stuck the stats on a flying unit and forgot to remove hide and forest.
That makes sense. Okay. I'm just imagining those sneaky Pegasus flying around the forest. But anyway. In any case, here comes the Norscan forces. They're going to be led by Wolfric the Wanderer with Hunter of Champions and Seafang and Foesaker. And then we're also going to have a Shaman Sorcerer of Fire with Fireball, Burning Head, and the Flaming Sword of Ruin with Kindle Flame for that passive. He's going to have 3 units of Norscan Ice Wolves. He's going to have a unit of Norscan Ice Trolls and a normal unit of Trolls. Make that 2 normal units of Trolls. For the infantry, it looks like we're going to have 3 units of Marauders, with the 4th being the Icehorn Marauder Regiment or Renown. He is then going to have 3 units of Marauder Berserkers, and on top of that seems to be most of his force, but the Raven Heralds here just sniping out that Norscan Lord so easily.
This is why I like Raven Heralds here, because there just wasn't any... If they don't take Marauder Horsemen, which is somewhat common. There's nothing to stop something like that happening. They can just find a lord, take aim, and just open fire into the back of pretty much any high value target.
Yep.
At this point, I'd be more inclined to see them start firing on the trolls.
I agree with you there.
Wolfric.
I mean,
what are
I
these?
guess maybe the
Ooh,
trolls
we've
for
got
the
the
dark
beast of
shards.
Tashnar in the back. Yeah, that Shaman Sorcerer just went. Raven Heralds, and I think there was an Overcast Spirit Leech on them as well.
Oh, Norscan Ice
to get
Trolls
the extra
routing
range.
before the battle even is met, and
Yeah.
now the Sisters of Slaughter just
I think
murdering.
the bolt zone's on them as well, and the ice and the I think the Norscan, the Dark Elves have just done a really good job of trying to limit what gets in. But as we say that, there's trolls on the bolt thrower,
Oh boy.
and that's going precisely as well as it sounds.
Well, there are some Dread Spears nearby. I'm curious to see if they turn around.
Dark
Kill.
Rider, yeah. And now we've got the Beast of Tashnar pulling into the back, trying to get in. The Beast of Tashnar has slipped through, and they're in the back line.
But for how long? I mean, we still have the Cold
Yeah,
One Knights who are now freed up, coming out
Like
to
we
engage
say, how
them, so-
long? Like, it's how long is this arm going to last? Because
Oh god, no,
most
Wolfric's
things are
dead too.
routing. Wolfric. Oh, is Wolfric dead?
Yeah,
That'd explain why. Because
that
literally
Wolfric is
everything's
dead.
wavering. Everything but the Icehorn Marauders is wavering or routing. And there goes Murderous Prowess. I think there was just too much damage early on. The leadership went too quickly from the Raven Heralds, and
MVP Raven
Blade's
Heralds.
yeah,
Like,
and I think Blade just paid the price for not taking range there,
yeah,
because Raven Heralds just took the leadership completely out of the equation, and with that, there just wasn't much of a chance. If you can't keep the leadership up with trolls, that's the entire troll budget wasted.
yeah, no,
Especially when you've got a bolt thrower in the back line. Yeah.
that was absolutely vicious. The Raven Heralds MVP
Yeah.
with one kill on him, but really
One
we know
kill,
they got
and
2
that
kills.
kill was Wolfric.
Yeah, they killed Wolfric. They
And they
basically killed the
basically
Shaman
killed
Sorcerer.
Yeah.
And
I really
oh,
like the
man.
Raven Heralds in a few matchups.
Yeah.
Before the DLC dropped, I used to really like taking them against Lizardmen.
Mhm.
Back when Lizardmen didn't field an Air Force. Because Lizards wouldn't tend to field much that they were actually threatened by. They'd just be like javelins at best.
Yeah. No, like one javelin would have wrecked. Like that's the thing. The Raven Heralds are such glass cannons. Like I rarely see them in competitive tournaments, and rarely do I see them being such an important unit.
Yeah.
But this battle, they set the pace of the whole damn thing.
Yeah.
They showed
When
up.
they work,
Ugh.
they really work.
Oh yeah.
That's why I like them.
Well, and their accuracy is so insane with those 9 ranks. So, killing lords, I didn't expect them to be that good at it, especially an infantry lord. But man, just melted them.
It's part of the benefit to be part of the benefit because it's against an infantry lord as well.
Mm-hmm.
They just don't keep up. The infantry lord can't really dodge anything. They're just there, getting shot.
Yeah. That was a vicious battle.
Yeah.
You know, great games to Slay decks. I want to shout that out, especially the Greenskin game there.
Yeah.
First up was absolutely beautiful, but that Norskin build, you know, if you forget that one component, you know, you forget any ranged, then guess what? Your opponent can very much have
Yeah.
you at his mercy early on if you don't have an answer to what he brought. So we just saw that there in a very extreme, painful example.
Yeah. When you Raven Heralds, they're relying on that basically. They're relying on you forgetting to take range because a few factions will occasionally do it. Like sometimes you see Chaos without range, sometimes you see Norska without range, and in those matchups you can take the Raven Heralds and you can just punish them hard.
Mm-hmm.
People underestimate how good they actually are.
There's Brink. I mean, I'm very curious to see what the builds are looking like. This lack of terror is like, it makes
It's
me...
a big shake-up.
Oh, it's a huge shakeup. Good idea coming up with that rule. It's definitely made for some more interesting tournament matches today. And, you know, especially with somebody like Falcon. Because I know his bread and butter when it comes to playing is like dragons and mammoths and big single entity monsters that he's really good at microing and he just understands how to use well. So seeing him in a tournament without any of those tools kind of just means I have a hard time predicting what any of his armies are going to look like.
Right, so
Yeah,
have
listen
you
to
got
Tony.
I'll take the Lizards.
Alrighty.
Right,
Walk us through
okay,
it.
so let's start. We have a Saurus Old Blood on a horned one, I believe, with... No, wait, I think it's on a
Yeah, it's a
regular
cold
one.
Yeah.
Christ, with a Horn of Kygor and Stand Your Ground in the Amulet of Itzel and Foe Seeker. So that's a pretty kitted out Lord for a change. A lot of wards, a lot of stuff to try and keep that Lord alive. Frontline, his range cohort, it's Skinks with javelins. There's full set of 5 of those. Horned ones on the flank here. There's Cold One Spear Riders in the back, 2 of each of those. 2 Red Crested Skinks, 2 Croxigors, and then a Heavens Mage with Wind Blast and Convergence. This is... I'm pretty sure we saw him bring this army against we've seen a similar army to this come out before.
Mm-hmm.
I think this is one he brought against the Empire, actually, against a move.
Yeah, I think
it's
very
the same build,
one, yeah.
word for word.
Yeah, I think you're right. Yeah, it is same build.
Yeah, I'm not Yeah, it depends on how much cavalry is up against, but I think he's got enough. Yeah, a lot of it's going to be dependent on what the Bretonnians put their effort into. So shall we have a look at that?
Yeah, I mean, looking at the Bretonnians and what they put their effort into, I mean, a front line of 5 polearms, men-at-arms, spear men-at-arms on either flank, 1 of each on either flank, and then we're going to have forced peasant bowmen in the center for that skirmishing capability, but 2 Grell reliques. These guys boost leadership and add immune to psychology, but without any terror, I'm kind of curious on the pick, but I guess the plus 12 leadership will make these guys very, very tanky in terms like, 74 leadership for these men-at-arms across the field. Yeah. So these guys are going to stay forever.
Yeah. And also, Bretonnian infantry isn't really known for leadership anyway.
Absolutely not.
The immune to psychology is going to handle, especially the fear from the Croxes and all of the cold ones.
Yep.
A lot of fear going around on that, and that's going to suppress a lot of that.
Yeah, no, that's a very good point too. And I mean, we'll see. I mean, I think it will help a lot in those frontline engagements, especially like you say against those Croxigors. I mean, and the trebuchets in the back here are doing a good job of forcing the Lizardmen to the Bretonnian. So we have 2 of those trebuchets. I imagine they were probably focused more so there for like Saurus warriors, but there's not really any Saurus warriors to speak of. But then we have 4 Knights of the Realm, 2 on either flank. Knights of the Realm do have a bonus versus large, so I'm curious to see how they do against Horned Ones. Horned Ones do have that armor piercing advantage though, so I don't know. This will be interesting. I think it's going to be all about how the engagements go down. As long as Bretonnia can make sure that the Fey Enchantress is nearby and that these Knights of the Realms don't get surrounded, I think they're going to do just fine in combat against these Horned Ones.
Yeah, I think the tools are there for both. Fey Enchantress especially, they've got the longevity. These Knights of the Realm might be able to put a bit more of a dampener on the Horned Ones than he'd like. But if we look at the front line, these polearms just are not lasting.
Well, they took a huge wind blast and an Earthblood went down to counteract it. But yeah, you're absolutely right. It's like those men-at-arms are so dead.
It's not covering the leadership. These ones here, they've got Red Crest and Croxigors. They're gone. They're pulling in the Spearmen at times, but even when they pull those through, and they've put in Knights of the Realm to help, but even so, when they're pulling all that in, they're pulling the cavalry away from where the Lizard cavalry is engaging over here, and that's precisely going in Falcon's favour here.
Yeah.
Stand Your Ground and the Horn of Kygor both went down. These Knights of the Realm have gone. They're out entirely, and now there's Spear Riders, Horned Ones, and the Old Blood on the Fey Enchantress.
Yep, and aside from the cavalry engagement going completely in the Lizardman favor, the front line is also just getting demolished. Grell reliques or not, Wind Blast is absolutely so devastating, as we saw against the Empire with this same build. It's equally as devastating to the Bretonnians because these men-at-arms with polearms have single-handedly been killed by the Skink Chief. Like, they would have done fine in those frontline engagements, but the Wind Blast have completely taken away their health. I saw 1 Wind Blast knock down 2 polearms to half health. 1 Wind Blast. So Falcon just really using his magic to great effect, and right now it looks like the Bretonnians got caught with their pants down, and I don't...
It was the first Wind Blast, I think, that turned it.
Oh, yeah.
That first Wind Blast that crippled the halberd, the spears, polearms, and it got Red Crest and Croxes going in He frantically pulled support in to cover that, but that left the cavalry open, and he got his engagement there and collapsed on that front.
Yeah.
And then from there, he was trying to pull cover from everywhere, and they were just, wherever the cover was coming from, he just left a gap that got exploited. It was just really good play in my books.
Yeah, no, I couldn't agree more. And like I was saying in the beginning there, seeing that left flank, that strong left flank that Falcon likes to use so much, with the Saurus Old Blood and the two horned ones, and he split up the Cold One Spear Riders on either flank to protect his units, but once again, he's just so good about that. You know, he pushes that left flank. You saw the Bretonnian UKIP reacting, sending over some Knights of the Realm over there. What does Falcon do? He just pulls back out for a little bit, lets a Wind Blast and Croxadors do some talking. The Knights of the Realm start getting distracted, try to go help the front line, and then he goes in and attacks again. So I think he's just, he really knows when to press the pressure. And when to pull out, and I think he did a good job there of not getting his horned ones engaged until he knew that infantry fight was already going in his favor. All right, let's do it then.
UKIP seems fine, so unless Falcon's got it. Yeah, here we go. So you got a preference, or?
No, I'm easy, sir. How about you take away the Lizardmen, I'll grab Bretonnia, or Empire.
Lizardmen, I'd love to say it's changed, but this is word for word the same build. Two
Yes.
Cold One Spears, two Horned Ones, Old Blood on a Cold One with Horn of Kygor, the damage resistance foe seeker, stanch ground, 5 skink javelins, 2 red crests, 2 croxes, Heaven's Priest with harmonic convergence and wind blast. It's word for word the same.
Well, and looking at this Empire army, it's very similar to what we saw with the Beastmen, but Wind Blast is going to have a field day against this army. I just have to say that right now. But starting here, we'll see if these guys can snipe out that Skink Chief of Beast before he gets there, though. The Empire has 5 Spearmen up front, 5 Men-at-Arms with, or Halberders in the back, 2 units of Handgunners, and 2 units of Empire, or Demigryph Knights with Halberds. For the leadership, we'll have a General of the Empire on foot with Hold the Line. We are going to have an Amethyst Wizard in the air with Burn. Is that what it's called?
Shem's Burning Gaze.
Oh, sorry. Blast
The
is the
missile.
item. Yeah, Blast, the magic missile.
Blast.
Spirit Leech. And then, yeah, Shem's Burning Gaze, the Net of a Mintok, and Blast and a Power Stone on top of the Light Wizard as well.
I think this is both. This is a case of deja vu on both sides.
Absolutely, but
These two Flying Lords are going to be scouting. These two Flying Castles are going to just be scouting around, trying to find this Skink Priest, so that they can just overcast Burning Gaze, Spirit Leech.
which they absolutely need to do, because if that Skink Priest survives, then this box is going to be dead.
Yeah, it's all going to come down to who's got the more effective anti-caster methods, because these guys, because the Flying Lords, they're not going to like these javelins, but the javelins also don't really have the ammo to keep them away.
Yep.
Like, they can throw all day, but when it comes down to it, there's only so much they can do.
Yep, and now they're about to find that Skink Priest.
Yeah.
All right.
And there go, and Spirit Leech in 3. I assume
There
Spirit
it
Leech is going
goes.
to come down. There it is, Spirit Leech. Skink Priests aren't the tankiest.
Nope, not at all. That is their one weakness.
He's
They're very cost
aiming-
effective, but
Yeah, the Shem's Burning Gaze is coming in. It's actually, I think it stopped for some reason.
oh, there it was.
There it is. Ouch.
Oh, that was
I
a
don't know
blast. Sorry, that wasn't the Shem's Burning Gaze.
Oh,
that
that
was
was a
blast. Yeah.
I think they might have gone with double blast because it said the Light Wizard was firing something, but
Yeah, I'm not sure if he dropped it or not, because I didn't
They're
see that
popping
second
power
blast go down.
stones. yeah,
But yeah, there you go. I
it's
mean,
battered. But I think that's the other blast going down.
yeah, there's the other blast, and
But
another Spirit Leech
There's the
probably will be
leadership,
enough.
but this is the point. This is the issue here. He's pulling his leadership away from the Skink Priest. He doesn't want to be going away. And there's the Burning Gaze. At this point, I'd be keeping your Lord closer to the Priest to try and keep the Encourage Aura, to try and keep him alive and in control, and not just.
Oh, yeah, there goes the Skink Priest.
goes
He's starting
the
to rout, and yeah, I think that's going to be all she wrote.
This is now going to be in a bit more of a risk territory because he's done a bit of damage to this Light Wizard, and he's wasted
All of his
most
ammo.
of his javelin ammo. This
Which,
skink
yeah.
priest is never coming back.
Yeah, Skink Priest is gone, and now I think that the Empire box
The
just
light
gets
wizard's
crazy
routing, though.
stronger.
This could be big.
Oh,
if
man.
the light wizard's routing, there's no net of Amintok. The
Yes.
cavalry's basically got free roam for what it's worth.
But I don't know what, like, it's how are they going to chase him off the map? He's going to stop routing at some point, I'd hope. His leadership's starting to
Maybe.
come back.
Yeah, maybe.
Ooh, Spirit Leech going down on top of the Cold and Spear Riders now. Yep, there goes the Light Wizard coming
there's
back.
a rally. But yeah, even so, he's miles away, and yeah, and yeah, he's.
It looks
there's
like
not much
Falcon may
range
be
left.
giving up on top
Falcon-
of that feast.
Yeah, Falcons. I think Falcons are going to have to try.
Yeah,
But
he's
even
coming
so,
in, and it looks like he may be trying to get a charge
This
before they
box
brace.
is massively out of position. There's huge gaps everywhere.
There is,
Demi-
but there it goes.
Two halberd demigriffs in the middle here. This is interesting. These halberd demigriffs could be a big surprise that Shetland, not Shetland,
Falcon.
that Falcon is not ready for.
Yeah, it looks like both of the casters over here just focused on killing off the Skink Chief now. They should be coming back, but
Skink Chief,
now the
yeah.
real battle begins as the Lizard
No idea where
crashes into
it's-
this box.
I assume the light mage is somewhere in the woods still. Light mage is off in melee, just trying not to be killed.
Holy
dealing with a Skink
blob, though. Look at this. What is happening? It's just like the Lizardmen dived in as hard as they could,
Yeah.
and the Hornets
just-
have taken a ton of damage.
Yeah, the horned ones went in and I think they took a charge from halberd demis,
Yeah.
and that's just not pleasant.
Not
And plus,
at
remember,
all.
it is a spear blob.
Yes.
There is very little on the enemy army here that does not have bonus versus large.
Yeah. And I mean, the Spearmen are starting to waver, and I mean, I think the Skink cohort will excel in the combat against the Spearmen, but it's all of the mobility for the
Yeah.
Greenskins that I worry about. They're just taking
Yeah.
so much damage.
Yeah, and it's these isolated things I'm worried about as well. 'Cause, like, there's Croxigors and Asaurus Oldblood, and they're surrounded by demigriffs and halberdiers.
Yeah.
This Saurus Oldblood is literally swarmed by anti-large.
But somehow it seems like the Lizardmen
Somehow
are
it's
still
like-
chewing through.
Yeah. Yeah. And
It's-
this is the part I'm saying it's because Spearmen and Halberdiers, their leadership isn't brilliant.
Mm-hmm.
Empire leadership's never really been renowned at its strongest suit. Oh, the Amethyst Wizards come down and these horned ones have just jumped it. I think he might have thought they were fleeing cold ones that he could get a quick shatter on.
Mm-hmm.
But no, they were horned ones, and this Amethyst Wizard is going to get punished for coming down.
Absolutely, and I mean, I'm trying to look around the Empire army right now to see what's still holding together, and it's like the Demogryph Knights. Some of
There's
them
some
are
spears
wavering.
holding against Javelin cohort. A lot of it's just everything around the Lord is somewhat holding.
Yeah, with
But-
this hold the lion trait, and I mean, it does look like, yeah, Spirit Leech on top of these horned ones is doing a lot of damage. The Amethyst Wizard looking like he's in a rout though.
Yeah, the Amethyst Wizard, he made a really bad play going down there.
Yeah, but
trying to get a
Demogryph
shatter.
Knight's getting a huge rear charge on top
And,
of all those horned
Yeah,
ones.
that rear charge is going to hurt, but I don't. But this Amethyst Wizard has suffered for his mistake.
But as long as he stays alive, you know, then all's well that
Yeah.
ends well. You know, he can still Spirit Leech with no health.
I don't know because even now these Spear Knights have come back in to peg him down in combat. The Light Wizards come in. The
Yeah.
Horned ones are rampaging, but they've got Stand Your Ground and Horn of Kygor up, so they're not breaking till they die.
Yeah.
It could go either way, but I think they're just.
Sorry, I mean, it looks like the Empire is starting to bring this back. I just see all of the Spearmen regrouping, the Halberds are regrouping.
Yeah.
And now
everything's starting to
yeah.
regroup, but oh god, that was a deadly volley. Those Croxigors did not like that.
Oh, not at all. And it just seems to me that now that the Horned ones and the Cold ones have been dealt with,
Yeah.
that the Empire is really regaining its composure. And yeah, the Empire General's healthy. And yeah, it just seems that that initial engagement was going really well, and Falcon had a lot of momentum, but the Empire was able to hold out just long enough to survive it. Because yeah, the Demogryph Knights are alive, and everything is routing besides the Saurus Old One.
Yeah, I think Falcon. The loss of the caster rattled him, and he didn't I think the initial engagement just wasn't what he wanted,
Yeah.
and it just went from there.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think
if
you got
he'd
a good point there that he really tilted him, I think, to lose that caster in that manner. He was doing a lot to try to save that caster, and when he couldn't, well,
I think he might have done better if he'd changed the build and gone with some kind of an aerial presence, or just done more range than just some javelin skinks. Something that could actually deal with these flying casters better than just javelin skinks, because it took the entire tank of most of the javelin skinks to just rout the light wizard once, and even then he rallied back. There wasn't much. Even if he saw the last match from Mukip, he should really have known that this sort of build was coming, and there just wasn't any preparation for the flying casters.
Yeah, no, completely agree. It's a best of 3, Toto, Mocho, and Demi G. This is a best of 3, not 5. So this is the ace match, and whoever wins takes all. Oh, yeah. God. Here we are, guys. Final round between Mukip and Falcon. Empire versus Dwarfs in the final round. Do you want the Dwarfs or the Empire, my friend?
Dwarfs, my friend.
All right. Let's see
Here
what they got. Oh!
First off, we have 4 cannons.
Shit.
He's going for the artillery. Then here we have in the woods, we have 4 miners with blasting charges. We have dwarf warriors that move somewhere. 5 dwarf warriors. No warriors of Dragonfire Pass. He's not going too valuable anything here. With blasting charges. In the woods, he's got hammerers, actually. We've said that. Runesmiths. We've got the Dragonback Slayers. And we have his lordship, Belagar Ironhammer.
Are you kidding me? Okay, sorry.
Belagar Ironhammer. Complete with his little oath stone pedestal. Expert charge defense, melee defense. He's going in here. Belagar. What? Yeah, and also the Runesmith with Wrath and Ruin, but who cares?
Really?
Belagar's here.
Exactly. Yeah. Belagar, I never see this guy anywhere.
Nobody expects Belagar's Inquisition.
Nobody expects the Belagar Inquisition. Well, does that round out the Dawi force?
Yeah, there's a lot of cheap stuff, 4 cannons and Belagar.
Well, there we go. Let's look at the Empire, who also has, guess what, 4 cannons. Guess we'll see who comes out on top with the cannon duel.
I don't know. I don't know who wins this cannon duel. I can't remember. I think it's the dwarfs.
I think it will be the dwarfs, but I mean, it's one of those things that it's all going to come down to just the randomness of what happens. You know, who knows? Maybe.
Actually, no. No, I think it's the Empire. I think Empire's going to win it because they've got more range and a bit more damage.
Well, I'm going to bet on the Dawi, and we'll see who's right. But we got 5 Empire swordsmen, 5 great swords, and then we also have a single unit of handgunners. And for the leadership, we have a Amethyst wizard with Spirit Leech and nothing else. We also have a warrior priest who's going to be bringing on top of him what appears to be the Scroll of Power and the Hammer of Sigmar. And then we also have an Arch Lector with the Grand Hammer of Sigmar. So, looking at the cannon duel, we see 1 Empire cannon knocked out. How are the Dawi faring? Also lost a piece already?
Yeah, they've lost 1 cannon model itself.
Okay.
But yeah, I was looking at the models and I was looking at the numbers, and the difference is Mukip's actually put a rank on each of his cannons, and they've got slightly more missile damage for it seems, according to the unit card. There's 1 cannon unit here that's just going. There's 1 model left in the cruise wavering. How's the Empire faring?
Empire has lost 2 total cannons, make that 3 now. So it looks like the artillery duel is coming out kind of neutral so far. Both players losing 3 cannons that I've seen. Yeah.
Actually, dwarfs have only lost 2 at the minute. There's a 3rd one going. The last crew members just ran off, but that cannon is still alive technically. Oh, and they've just dropped a Spirit Leech on one of the cannons. So that'll be interesting. Oh, the Spirit Leech has just taken another cannon model.
Oh man.
This is interesting because that caster, if left unchecked, could cost dwarfs the artillery duel, but just because he's leeching out their cannons, and dwarfs don't really have an answer to that.
Yeah, I was actually wondering how
Without
that would come
turning
into
their
play.
fire away from the other cannons to blow up the Amethyst Wizard. And now the dwarfs just kind of back and forthing in no man's land.
Yeah. But they are getting some awesome damage against these handgunners with a volley of blasting charges from the miners, bringing them down about half health.
Oh, these swords masters just got chunked as well by a volley. How are those cannons doing? This seems like 3 models down and one's routing off now. How many models left back here?
I mean, for the Empire, it looks like they have 4, 6.
I'm counting 6.
Yeah, 6.
Oh, I'm counting 8 models, only 6 being manned.
Yeah, 8 total, 6 being manned. But it's one of these things where it's like the artillery duel has just turned into like we're
Dwarfs
literally just killing each other's cannons, nothing else.
Dwarfs, they've got 6 cannons all online.
Yeah, 6 cannons
Most
online.
of these middle of the line ones.
Actually, no, they only have 5 online. There's one unit that's completely dead.
This left one has just lost its last model.
Yeah.
At
But
this
here
point,
come the front lines, though. Hammer is meeting great swords in battle. And,
at this point, I'd be pulling this cannon crew into the woods, try and preserve their ammunition.
And put them on a
So
different
that
model.
if there's any models left, you can just pull them on and keep firing.
Yep. Remember that,
But
chat.
no, he's just
The
leaving.
crew carries the ammunition, not the artillery model. So you can man
And
a
now
different
we
crew's
see-
artillery round.
And here we see miners running from Great.
Getting a nice full surround, though, because of it.
Yeah. I wouldn't be surprised if he was trying to slip through and trying to get the miners to get a clean shot through onto the cannons. Because the only alternative he's got is either is for the Empire to run great swords back, or to move out these swordsmen who are already pinned down by miners. Really.
Yeah, I'm going to see one of these, well, 2 units of the great swords routing.
The swordsmen are on the last full health cannon already.
Oh, really?
Swordsmen are on the last big cannon.
But they are getting hit in the back by dwarf warriors as they're doing
Yeah.
it. And it
But
looks
yeah,
like we see 2 great swords routing right now because they got in combat with the hammers, and the hammers definitely win that matchup.
There's cannon crews back here with working cannon models left that they're just not manning.
For the
Could
Dowie or...
pay
for
for
the
Empire.
Yeah.
They're just not on the cannons. They've just routed, and UKIP's focusing on the frontline engagement.
Yeah, he needs
And
to
his
get these
men
guys
have
back
rallied,
on their
and he's
artillery
just not
pieces.
put them back on his cannons.
Yeah, and now the Amethyst Wizard is getting targeted by the Dowie cannon fire, and it's doing quite a lot of work to him.
Yeah, and the dwarf infantry is breaking that, starting to break up though. These dwarf warriors going, these miners won't last much longer against greatswords, and then they've got a clean shot through to the cannon line.
Yep.
This
And there's only
cannon
one
lo-
unit
these-
hammers that's still doing okay, but the
These
great swords will be able to take care of it.
these 3 intact cannons have just had their crew routed off. There's 2 cannons left online for the dwarfs. Empire has 3 models, I believe, left for cannons that are being manned. They
Well-
could double that if the crews were back on them.
He really needs to do that. And balance of power is going red right now, but I think if the artillery got back online, they could do so much damage to a lot of this Dowie infantry right now.
Yeah.
But handguns are now open and out in the open, and they are going to destroy that cannon themselves.
Yeah.
So one more Dowie cannon
This
offline.
cannon, yeah, but here's the thing though: if you can just move these swordsmen, there's 3 cannon models stood there.
Yep.
If he can keep any of his crews that have ammo left alive long enough for these swordsmen to break, there's 3 cannons. He can just handle what's left of the artillery.
Yep.
With that, I reckon.
All right, looks like the
Because-
Empire is starting to man their artillery again, so we'll see how much that changes. The dwarf sending some miners over to try to take care of those artillery rounds, but I just don't think there's enough units. But yeah, I mean,
I
at
don't
this
know.
point,
These
anyone's
miners
game.
might be able to do something here, because actually, they've ignored the cannons entirely. He's moving them into. one of them's going. Oh wait, no, they're running back now. He's realised the cannon models are actually intact. But originally they were running up to the main fight.
Oh, really?
Which is, yeah, I don't think he'd know. I think he just assumed that the cannons were broken, and instead he just ordered them up, and then gone back and realised these cannons are online still.
Yeah. Well, the Archlector has suddenly found himself in the middle of a Dowie box, full of just like Rune Smith, Beligor,
Oh, he just got shot. I think he got shot in the back by his own cannon.
He definitely did get shot in the back by his own cannonball. It knocked him over, and that's going to suck because now Beligor's
running back over,
him.
but this Warrior Priest is going to die the second he gets back into combat, I think.
Yeah, and look at that. Falcon taking the victory.
Dwarf's taking it. Hell, that was close. And honestly, if he'd noticed his cannon sooner, I think Mukit might have been able to swing that.
Oh, definitely, because there was so much opportunity for him to shoot hammers that were blobbed up in the center there.
Look at the hammers going MVP, though. Look at this.
158.
158, 75, 162 on the dragon backs.
That's right there. That's value. And the artillery duel, ironically, like I know it was important, but it was one of those artillery duels where it was like, it was all based on can we kill each other's artillery, but not a lot of damage done to other units on the field until the late game when the artillery from the Dowie started taking out the Amethyst Wizard, and when the Empire artillery finally started shooting some of the infantry. But great series between both of these players, but Falcon going to take it in a 2-1 victory.
Yeah, it was a great game, and yeah,
it was a really good game.
They all have been, but yeah, that dwarf army, I wasn't too sure about it when I saw the space, especially when I saw him pushing forwards with it.
Yeah.
But ultimately, I think it worked because Mukip only had one unit of handgunners, so he couldn't gun down the dragonbacks and all the hammerers and the other hammerers.
Yeah.
There just was too many targets, and he only had one handgunner, and the cannons were all busy.
Yeah.
So
it's one of those battles where I almost think, in retrospect, I would have liked to have seen the Empire not even try to duel the Dowie artillery and just immediately start shooting infantry.
Yeah, especially because one of the bigger things with this is Empire cannons, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure Empire cannons are more expensive than Dwarf cannons. They're like 100 gold more each. And especially because he upranked all his cannons, that's an extra 500-ish that he's just put into cannons. They just spent the entire time dueling other cannons that were a bit cheaper.
Yeah.
And that's just a bit of wasted value. Especially when you forget to put the crews back on them.
Yeah. And I think this is just going back to one of those things where hindsight is 20/20, and us as the casters watching this from like the third person point of view it's so much easier for us to notice, like, you forgot a cannon, and it's so hard for one of the players when you're having this high pressure battle to remember all those little things. But nonetheless, great games, and I want to thank you, Ironthunder, for allowing me to co-cast this tournament with you and joining forces. It was been a good time, and I enjoyed the no terror rule for this tournament. Next tournament I do will be back to normal rules, but the no terror format was interesting. Yeah,
it was interesting. It's part of the reason I went with it. But it's been a pleasure to cast with you. It's been an honor, sir.
Well, thank you, man. I appreciate you doing it. Let's co-cast again sometime. Me and Romulan Dog are always doing it, and I want to. I think there's plenty of people who cast tournaments. We'll try to get more co-casters in here, get more people and names out in the community. Yeah, it's fun. It's nice to see people coming through as well. Thanks for running these long-standing tournaments. It's of course always fun. It's always fun to have a running series as well. Well, thanks for the dedication that takes. Hey, thank you, man. I mean, it's you guys who make it worth it, and everybody who shows up to play. And we've gotten some new players today, which I'm really happy about. I've been getting a lot of messages in Discord and Steam from newer players trying to figure out how to sign up for the tournament. So thank you guys for that. Karen08, I haven't seen your name before, but I'm glad to see you're thinking it's entertaining to watch. Hit that follow button if you're enjoying it. But let's just try to keep growing the community. The finals for Season 2, the top 8 finals with the $300 prize, isn't happening at the end of this month, so I'll shoot out a poster and an announcement soon. And then we'll keep on going into Season 3. Hey, best of luck to you all then. Thank
I
you.
think you said you've got a shoot off, haven't you?
Yeah, I got to shoot off, so I'll catch you guys all later. Iron Thunder, thank you for being here once again, and everybody else, take care of yourself.
pleasure.
But yeah, any parting words, Iron Thunder, before I end the stream?
Not really. Thank you all for watching, and we'll see you next time.
All right, sounds good. All right, everybody, take care of yourselves. I love you all. Thank you to the players, to my co-caster Iron Thunder, and to everybody in the chat for showing up, and to the new followers. I appreciate you all. But my son HW going to be signing out. I'll see you next time.